We're live. Let's paint.
Oh, I didn't see you there. I hate when people do that. Be in a video, but like, oh, sorry, I didn't see. What's up, guys? How y'all feel? L up on set from Creative Sound. Creative. Beat project, beat culture. So we're live right now, and as the topic is spelled out on the channel, we're discussing Logic Pro, now available or will be available on iPads. And obviously, this is for people who own Apple products because Logic Pro is a Mac only situation. So I'm just logging in so I can see y'all comments and questions and whatnot, and we're going to address them accordingly. But welcome everybody to the stream. Let's have a discussion about what's been brewing, a topic that's been brewing lately over YouTube and some social platforms. This is a big deal in the music industry, or not. It just depends on which type of person you are. But I want to give shouts out to the folk that are here. Appreciate you. Really though, it's in the building. What's up? Let's see what we're talking about with this Logic Pro Apple thing. Shall we? Yes, we shall. We shall. Maze is in the building. What's up? What's up? What's up? Prime time is here. What's up? What's good? Does anyone use iPad and make music beats currently? That is a good question. I would like for the community to answer that question. Any of you guys use the iPad to make music? Is the iPad a thing, right? It's like it's one of those things where like there is a nice amount of us that use the iPad for several things. Which one are you? Do you use the iPad to make beats, or do you use it in the most conventional way, the way we've been doing it since computer came on the market, or since the ability to make music on a computer came to fruition? Because remember, there was a time where, for some of us, using the computer was like, what? Because we was used to the tactile of things, actual machines and beat makers and things that were hardwares and devices that were made with knobs and buttons and faders and switches and different things like that. And everything was like on your fingertip, you know? And then when the computer came in the world, it was like, for some of us was like, I'm not going to make beats on that thing. Like, what the hell? Where do I have any of you guys that are like that? Like when computers, I guess if I say that, that kind of tells your age a little bit. I don't know. I mean, computers ain't been out that long. Well, yeah, it ain't been out that long. I mean, when I was a kid, I remember when computers was. Nah, I ain't gonna say that. I remember when computers was a thing. Well, it wasn't a thing, but it was. We had one. It was one in the building, but it was probably just one. You know what I'm saying? It was just that one grayish looking, off cream looking computer that take floppy disks. Remember that? Talking. I think I just told my age. Yeah, I think I just told my age. These young people don't remember them days. Just imagine making music on that when you had keyboards with synthesizers in there, or like when you go to the studio, you had other means of recording. You know, the mix board was like 2 blocks long. You know, during those days, and then this computer came in, and because during those days to book a studio session was pretty expensive, and you had to almost be somebody of an official. That's not something you was doing as a hobby. There's a lot of talent, but you would at that time you were going to different events, seminars, or whatnot in the area to get well known, or you were performing at the club. You know what I'm saying? You was at somebody's party to get put on, that type of thing. You had to have a budget. Record labels was booking hotels. I mean, not hotels, but record labels was booking studio sessions because of the budget. Then this computer thing comes in, and now everybody has the ability to make beats in a room, in a house, bruh. Like, seriously? The record labels and the studio, well, man, they didn't know what to do with themselves. And even some of them didn't like the idea of having a computer, but they had to adapt. Older heads with the whole mindset of how they were doing things for years, they had to change unless they was going to lose a lot of money. We need to have the ability to implement these people who's coming in with computers and doing things on computers. We need to have some type of solution. And I don't think they fully figured it out though, because even some of the last time I've been to the studio, bruh, last time I've been to the studio, I mean, they had Pro Tools, yeah, but a lot of the outboard gear, everything was still kind of set up in a way where you was going to be recording to ADATs or tape machines, or you know what I'm saying, or something like that. They still had those in the studio, to believe it or not. So there's a lot of things that was collecting dust. I mean, if you don't have anybody designated to keep those things free of dust, they will collect dust, because they got this little station now with a Mac tower right there and a little screen. They call it a sidecar, right? It's like a little sidecar with everything, the brains of the entire studio in this one sidecar deal. Boom. That's it. All the extra stuff that's built in and screwed into those racks, they are used. I'm not gonna lie. They are used, but they are used by people who know how to use them. These younger people has no clue what that stuff does. Ain't never heard of an 1176 compressor, and if you do, you have no clue what it do. Anyway, I digress. I digress. What's up to everybody? Let's have a good stream. So my machine rarely use my MacBook anymore. Okay. Mark, what's up? From Facebook, what's up? What's happening? Stanley, what's happening, man? I'm with you. I was a Triton NPC kind of guy. Yeah, man. Like the older people, the older people feel like, man, the world had just left us behind. Like, what is going on? Right. 5.25 inch. Then we went to the 3.5 inch. I remember zip drives. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? You see where this world going. Anyway, let's talk about it, guys. Fast forward 2023. So Logic Pro. I'm gonna throw my screen up here in a second. But Apple is doing something. Um, they're putting Logic Pro and Final Cut on iPads, which is this little device here that I have that y'all see me using the stream. This I kind of use this when I'm on stream. I use it to just kind of keep up with the comments and things like that. So it's like a second display. I use my iPad for quite a bit. You know, I have the Gen 2 pencil that they redesigned. You know, this thing is pretty expensive for electric pencil, but it's pretty cool to have because you know you could do quite a bit. It's really responsive. The app world, being on the mobile devices and whatnot, is a popular thing. You know, these kids these days they're doing a lot of video gaming and um, watching movies, just doing mostly everything. Social media, watching YouTube videos, art, creating, designing, editing photos, things like that. And why not talk about music production when it comes to being able to have access to a mobile situation? Now, being making music on an iPad is nothing new. There are several applications that are designed for the iPad or even the iPhone, for that matter, because there's a huge number of people who are making beats on the go. But how do we distinguish them in terms of the pro users? And when I say pro users, I'm not saying the people who use them all the time and just know how to use the program. I'm speaking, when I say pro, I mean like people who actually makes money, you know, the professional world. Are you making money making beats on a small device such as an iPhone or iPad? And I like to say there's a nice amount of people out here that's making a lot of money doing things such as that. There's always somebody doing something in the most advanced ways, should I say? Um, but you know, it's still a handful of us that would rather do things tactile, like myself, have a keyboard, an actual keyboard to produce and be efficient or whatever. That's just me. But that's just me, though. You know what I'm saying? That's just my workflow and my background and the way I like to do things. But obviously, the, there's this new thing where people are making beats on mobile devices, and believe it or not, this is something I've asked Personas to do with Studio One. Like, give us the ability to make beats in the app. In the app, you know what I mean? They have not yet done that. But I would have thought that Logic would have already done this. I would have thought that I just thought that they would have. I feel like they are too late. Well, not too late in terms. I mean, I'm just saying, like, what they should have been. This should have already been possible. Is what I'm saying. Like, all of a sudden, GarageBand has been available for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe that's the reason. GarageBand, yeah, you know, it's simple. It's more of a simpler version. Um, GarageBand is like the pre. It's like it's like Logic Pro for beginners. Maybe that's what GarageBand would be. But you know, just looking at how things has been going over the years, like I remember what Logic Pro was because I was a Logic Pro user. I started in Logic Pro 8, and then 9 came out, and I've been in 9 all the way up until like maybe a couple weeks before they released Logic Pro X. But by then I moved on to Studio One because in Logic 9, you know, it was like it just felt like everything was stale and stagnant. Issues that was happening were not being fixed, and that just kind of happened for a few years. And so I just found something else that was, I don't know, a little bit more exciting or more stable. But now we're here, you know what I'm saying? But back during that time, Logic Pro and GarageBand, they had a distinctive look. Like GarageBand looked like GarageBand. Logic Pro was the advanced version of, I'm not going to say advanced version of GarageBand. I just think GarageBand was the stripped down version of Logic Pro. If you get what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? Because at that time they was kind of two different platforms. It was like two different things going on. Like the looks was different, the setup was different. You know, just the way you moved around in GarageBand, you know, during that time was a little bit different than it is now. But nowadays, like I remember when they made that update, I don't know, I think it was X. When X came out, they made Logic Pro look just like GarageBand, because this was kind of like the look of GarageBand at that. I think because GarageBand has gotten an update, right? So now it makes it interesting to distinguish which was which, and there was a big uproar about like how they kind of went back, and the same thing happened with Final Cut. To believe it or not, Final Cut is a movie editing software program that they have, and there is the free version or the simpler version called iMovie, right? So iMovie, GarageBand was always free applications that came on every Mac, and if you wanted the upgrade version of it, you will be paying whatever that fee was at that time. Then you get Logic Pro, which is the professional version. Then you get Final Cut, which is the movie professional version of iMovie, right? Again, Final Cut Pro had a distinctive look. It kind of looked like Logic Pro, like the way that, you know, just the look and the feel and the vibe or whatever. And then they made that update one time, and then all of a sudden Final Cut looks like iMovie. And so a lot of the pro features got moved around. Like they totally redesigned it. All of the pro features got moved around, and maybe some of the pro features got taken out or reworded, or, you know, they just redid everything. And there was a big uproar about that. I remember that time. You know, because now Final Cut now has a more simplicity look to it, a more simplified. It's not as pro as it once was before, and people were like tripping out, you know. And it was really mostly coming from like the major movie edit. You know, people was making movies back then. You know, not so much your hobbyists. You know, people that was actually making like a lot of money making films. But check this out. Check this out. Logic Pro has now made it to iPad. And so supposedly anything that you do on your iPad can talk to Logic Pro on your system, right? So right now, and this is not out yet. At least I don't think. I did a search earlier and I didn't see it, but I think like at some point they will make this available. But like, these are the type of things you were able to do in the remote. Now there was always a Logic Pro remote. I had it for years, but not on this level, I'm guessing. But you was always able to control Logic Pro through the app, which was cool. Like Studio One. Studio One has an app. You can control Studio One through the app as long as you're on the same network. And then you are fine. That's how it works. But now Logic Pro has its own software where you can make beats, you can mix, you take a full project, somewhat, right? Because it's an app, you know. you're not gonna have all of your third party plugins in here. Like if you're somebody who uses third party instruments and stuff like that, you just got to be prepared to slim down if you're going to use something like this. I would imagine the first iteration of this would be just Logic Pro instruments and effects that are obviously optimized for mobile purposes, just like the Machine Plus, right? Native Instruments, right? Everybody has been in the uproar about having a mobile solution. Okay, now we have a mobile solution. And now we have more complaints about even the after fact. Okay, we got you a mobile solution, but in order to get things down into the mobile solution where you can, when I say mobile, I mean like portable. That's what I'm trying to say. Now everything is portable. Well, guess what? They gave you a machine that doesn't have a big space hard drive space inside of it, which means you can't go crazy like me. So the only way to have all of the things that you want to do on your system, and you guys seen me, I've been live several times. You've seen like some of the plugins I have. I have a nice handful. I have a nice handful of plugins, right? And so in order to have those type of plugins or that many on your system, you have to have a hard drive space that can handle it, right? Well, if Machine put out options, I think it was rushed. I'm a mad Native Instruments supporter, but I just think it was rushed. The Machine Plus was rushed. I think it's a quality design. I think it's dope. You know what I'm saying? I think it's cool. You know, the Machine Plus is cool, but I do feel like if they would have taken more time to develop it even further, it could have been something like crazy, right? And what I mean by that is like there should have been an option to allow people to pick the internal size. You know what I'm saying? You can pick the hardware, the drive size inside. That way, people can pick, and then it won't be too much, or at least a trimmed down level of backlash, or I wouldn't say backlash, but well, maybe it is a bit backlash, but it wouldn't be so much of an uproar or people tripping out about it if they got an option for the internal space. People can pick the hard drive space that they want, and then at that point, hey, if you pick the 512 gigabytes and you can't do everything you need to do because you already filled it up to capacity, well, whose fault is that? That it's not necessarily anybody's fault, because people just pick what they feel like they need, and they pick according to their budget. Okay, so it wouldn't be anybody's fault, but it wouldn't be so much of an uproar because that's the model you picked. That's the one you went with. That's the one you selected when you put it in the cart. You see what I'm saying? So now, if you feel like you need more space, well, now we're gonna go for the one that's a terabyte big. And then we're gonna go for that option. It's just like picking out a computer. But at the same time, if erase everything I just said, going for where it is now, where it's just what it is now, the decisions that you made when you purchased it, you should have looked at all of the specs and details. You should have known what you was getting into. And if everything did not look according to what you were expecting, then that's where your decision comes in at, if you will. Like, oh, this is not going to work because they don't have enough space. But how could you know that, right? It was the first iteration, so it's like, how could you have known that, right? Whatever. I digress. Let's say what's up to some people here. We got Jabba Jabberin. Hope I said that right. She said there's no money in it except for subscriptions. Yeah, yeah. But when you make that when you say that you this is a fact. This is a fact. It's almost like how do you scale, you know, for Apple being that it they're a hardware company. They make computers. There's a bunch of us out in this world that will always buy Apple computers because of their reputation, because of their quality, because of just success. We know the product. We already know that these are quality. We understand that we're going to pay premium dollar to own these machines. Just look at me. I am streaming to you guys. The encoder right now is on a MacBook Pro. The computer I'm working off of is an iMac. You know what I'm saying? If I want to watch TV, I have an Apple TV. You know what I mean? To communicate back and forth, answer emails, make phone calls, FaceTime sessions, sending beats to people, writing contracts, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. Taking notes, recording memos. I do that with my iPhone and sometimes my iPad. And my iPad is an added bonus feature to what I do as a producer or audio visual when I'm in the corporate world. Just the type of things I'm able to do. Just having those type of devices, and then have a Apple Watch to like be a part of that ecosystem. Where it keeps track of different things. I can set alarms. I can set timers. Um, when I'm traveling somewhere and I don't know how to get there, my watch nudge me. Hey, here's you get off on this exit. Little stuff like that, or being able to take a picture, snapping on my watch, and while my phone is set up somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like the little stuff like that. That's Apple. Apple is really good at that. We know this. We realize it. We love it. You know what I mean? So they're always going to make money in that field, right? But when it comes to production, Logic Pro, if you think about it, like Logic Pro has been at the $200 mark for a very long time. Very long. I mean, years. Like they ain't nudge. All of the updates that come out over time, and they've been in Logic Pro X for a long time. So it's kind of hard to say if or when they would actually, like, what would they go from there? Like when you say Logic Pro X, you're thinking that's the last. Where did you go next? Like Logic Pro X point two? Like how do there is no indication that they're going to the next level, like they're gonna, I don't know. Anyway, they've been here for some years. Um and when they come out with updates, they come out with significant updates. It's pretty dope. I myself have to come back and forth. I don't use Logic Pro like I used to. So every once in a while I'll come back. But I used to be a major Logic Pro user. You see some of my videos, that's kind of how I start this channel, using Logic Pro. If the iPad had a PC quality, That's an interesting statement right there. You say if the iPad had PC qualities, what do you mean by that? It'd be on board with the iPad still crashes a lot. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. I'm gonna put that up on the screen again. You said if the iPad crashes, the iPad don't crash for me. Let me see. This one I have now is the 11 Pro. This one has an M chip in it, but I've owned 3 of them prior to this one. There are some apps that will crash here and there, but I have never. Mine's like I have had a really great experience with the iPad, and that's just me personally. Um, X Screen, have you ever owned an iPad before, or are you going based off what people say? Because because sometimes it's like when you read in reviews or you listen to other people who complain about their experiences, everybody experiences different. What were they doing on the iPad? Like, who was it that was complaining about what? Perhaps a application that wasn't stable, an application that had bugs, whatever. Mine don't have the issue. Mine's smooth, fast. The only thing I don't like about it is it eats battery a lot. You know, the battery doesn't last as long as I would like it. But I mean, it's decent though. I can get through a entire week with it. But I don't use it heavy like that either. But I do quite a bit on this iPad to where I've created several full completed projects, and it's, to me, in my opinion, it's totally reliable. I've never viewed the iPad as something that's incompatible or in, you know not capable of being something stable. I've never experienced that, and then when you compare this to the PC, my experience, my entire life has been on the PC. Things crashed a lot. Now, there are some apps that are more stable than others, and I don't think PCs are bad or whatever, but I have had some experiences that I can say PCs are not reliable. I wouldn't use a PC to do this type of work. But that would be me getting into a serious fight with a bunch of you guys, because some of y'all live and breathe and die by PC, and I'm the same way on the Mac. But see, the difference between me and you is I'm not about to get on here and brag about how Macs are the superior. It's just, to me, I just always feel like it's all about preference. If you're a PC person, hey, be a PC person and do your thing. I'm a Mac person. That's my thing. And I just keep life simple like that. I don't get into all of that. I prefer a Mac. And I'm gonna tell y'all, like, some of the questions I've been getting on this channel about different things. I've posted so many videos. I've get all types of questions about things that people have experienced, like issues, and people be mentioning some interesting things, and I'm on the other end reading these questions and trying to help these people, and I'm like, these type of issues that you're having, wait, what platform are you using? And then they say PC. I was like, oh, okay. I've never had those issues. I don't even know what you're talking about. So I don't know how to help some people, because of the issues that y'all having on PCs is different from what we have on Macs. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't know. So when you say stability issues, I'll have to disagree with that, because I don't have those problems. Do you think they're trying to phase GarageBand? That's a good question. I'm just thinking, like, I feel like they will, man, because if the Logic Pro is on the iPad now, no one is gonna really no one's really going to. Now, the big difference between Logic Pro on an iPad and GarageBand will be the price, obviously, because now we're in subscription models. So, to in order to have Logic Pro is it's $5 a month or $60 a year or something like that. I gotta scroll down. Touch Tone, what's up, bro? Sorry, man. I'm just going down these different comments and whatnot. Stanley says GarageBand is the intro to Logic Pro. Absolutely. I mean, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. I just feel like they were at one point totally different, Especially when I was in Logic Pro 9 at that time. There was two different platforms, like totally different. You know what I'm saying? But they've done a lot to make them be able to talk to each other. So when you start off a project in GarageBand, you can open it up in Logic Pro. So that's the continuity aspect of it has been in there for a while. But you just can't go backwards. I don't think you can't. Yeah, you can't start something in Logic Pro and go back to Garage, which theoretically don't make sense to me anyway. So why start in the Pro aspect, and try to go back into the free version of something like that wouldn't make sense. That would be. So I mean, but some people try to do stuff like that. Like I was wondering, can I get my Logic Pro to pull up in GarageBand? Like seriously, but at that point it depends on where you trying to do that. Like if it was the app version of it, maybe that makes sense because you want to create on the app because that's the type of person you are. Your workflow. So now there's an app, so you don't have to go back and forth. You can just Logic Pro all day. But isn't it too late? I feel like Apple is backwards. I'll say that. Apple is backwards when it comes to like how this stuff goes. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that most companies are backwards. With the subscription model thing, I think that is just totally backwards. And I'm gonna tell you why. The reason why I feel that way is because I feel like the subscription model should have been the first thing that happened before being able to buy a perpetual license to anything. You know what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, having a monthly subscription access to anything, I feel like should have been the first step to like after the part where all softwares or even studio sessions or things like that, they were kind of locked in with studios. I mean, record labels and whatnot, and or like kind of just locked up with premium sources, right? When they made it available to people, like getting access to being able to make beats in your bedroom and stuff like that, that part should have been like the monthly subscription, right? The monthly subscription to it. Maybe they weren't thinking like that back then, but think about it. Like if Logic Pro, if they didn't have a perpetual license type vibe, that type structure, just y'all go with me for a second. I'm trying something new. I don't even know how but this is something that came to me. So just think about when Logic, and I'm only saying it because now there's a big uproar about being a Logic Pro user. You've already bought it, right? And you use it on your computer and you've been making beats. You've been successful, blah, 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 right? Now there's an app, a stripped down app version of the same program that you already paid for. Now it's on the app. in the app store that you can use on your iPad, and you have to pay monthly for it for the same program you had already paid the lump sum for a few years back. But to get that same program on your boom, it's like now there's an added cost monthly to have that access. If things was done the opposite way, I feel like if everything before was a subscription, and then now an option unlocked and say, hey, we're giving y'all the option to buy the perpetual license to this, to own it outright. You don't have to pay any more subscriptions. Now the perpetual license might be at a costly factor because people, they still want to make money each month. But like, I feel like a lot of people will go that route. Then that would be like, oh, the responses will be the reverse. You see what I'm saying? That's what I feel like. The response will be a reverse. So that way we are already in the subscription base. You know, we paying like $5, whatever, $10. Maybe it was maybe it started at $50 a month. You know, Logic was doing $50 a month to have Logic Pro in the beginning. So a lot of people would do it. A lot of people would trip out. But actually they wouldn't, because like I said before, back in the day, that wasn't that many years ago, to have any of these type of gear or access to this platform, you had to be a big star. You had to be signed to a record label to get locked into a studio, because the studios at that time was charging a lot more money than what they're charging now. And this is a nice amount of them that charge a lot of money anyway. But you know, in today's time, but if they would have came out and said, okay, well, we're going to make this available to everybody, we're going to do $99 a month, you know, and that would have been like, oh, bet. You know what I'm saying? Like, people's responses would have been different back then, because if it was never available to like you and I in the bedroom making beats, or those type of people, they came out like that. Now, paying $100 a month for Logic Pro now will be like ridiculous, right? Ain't nobody gonna do that. The world will blow up if that was the case. But just think about it. If that was the first step years ago, where it was like $100 a month, then I feel like a lot of people would have took that chance. And then over time, maybe they decreased the price because now they trying to reach more people. You know what I'm saying? What if that was the perspective? And then all of a sudden now we at the $5 mark, right? We 2023, boom, $5 now. That'll been like a positive response, like, oh snap, man, you know, $5 a month. And well, actually there will be some uproar about that too, because the people like, I remember when it was $50 and it was $100 at one time. Now they make it $5 now. I don't understand, blah blah blah. Man, they owe me a lot of, you know what I'm saying? People will go nuts. Still, I guess the fact of the matter is, people always have something to say. And there's always going to be somebody going to just go against the grain and say something crazy, regardless of what you do as a company or as a person. You know what I'm saying? There's always going to be somebody that, it's like sit down and just relax. Just stop. You know what I'm saying? Just sit down, relax, stop. But yeah, going back to what I was saying. So if it was like we all of a sudden now we're paying $5, now open up the perpetual license to it and be like, okay, if you don't want to pay that, blah 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 blah, how about this, $200, and you no longer have to pay a perpetual license. Boom, man. So many people will be on top of that, bro. That is what people will be on top of. People will be crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know. But you know, this world is built off backwards anyway. So it's like, I guess everything is where it's supposed to be. There's a lot of things that people are doing or companies are doing that we always going to feel like they're doing things backwards. You know what I mean? I don't know. That was just. I don't even know if I even believe in that thing I just said. This is something we just talking about it. We're just having a conversation. All right, let's go. Let's go back to the Q and A. The Q and A. Raharu, what's up? What are your thoughts about owning software where we are on the subscription based service yearly or monthly over just buying full products? Let me think about what I just read. I'm not really sure what you're saying, but it sounds like you're saying the opposite. It sounds like you were going along with what I just came up with or what I just finished talking about. Say, what are your thoughts about not owning software where we are out on subscription based service yearly or monthly over just buying full products? So basically, what I got out of that was what I got out of that was owning the product that you already paid for and now have to pay more money into it. But it's kind of what I got from that. Okay, you pay $200 to own the product, to have access to the product, but now we want you to pay $5 a month for that same, for the same program you already own. But I mean, granted, it is on a different platform. It is on here, and maybe I'm being real goofy about it, but I mean, it's almost like, hey, you got a MacBook, but you're gonna spend extra money to have an iPad that can do the same thing as a MacBook. It's still a device. It's still, and you're gonna do the same stuff. You're gonna go online. You're gonna do some browsing. You're gonna look at videos. You're gonna respond to emails. But you pay a little bit more money to have access to something that's more convenient. Because the iPad is smaller, it's lighter, stick it in your backpack. You know what I'm saying? You can stick your MacBook in your backpack too, but that's heavier and it's not as portable. It's portable, but it's a bit bulkier. You got to open it up. Screen, keyboard, whatever. This one is just throw it in your iPad. Your backpack, and it's touchscreen. So there's other options. So you spend money to have extra accessories. It's almost like having a cell phone. You know what I mean? Like smaller. You could throw it in your pocket. You can still do everything you do on an iPad, but like if you have an iPhone, then why buy an iPad? You know what I'm saying? Like I guess screen size. They both touch screen. Um, but I don't know. Having an iPhone, even though it's smaller, it costs more than having an iPad. If you think about it, I guess it depends on what you got on it. But the iPad can be used as a production, like pro stuff. Not everything is available on iPhone world. There's they, but my fight, my argument to having an iPhone versus Android, in my opinion, is like some of the things I'm able to do on iPhone that I know I ain't gonna be able to, or never been able to do on Android because of you know whatever. That's another fight I am not going to get into. It's all preference. Cubases. I hear Cubases. I'm seeing Cubases. X Screen says, I see you, man. She's talking about the dog, the iPad crashes on the M1, and I'm referring to the iPad apps working like VHT on a PC, working like a VST on. I'm gonna say the same thing I said. Um, at the end of the day, it's all preference. If you prefer to use PC, use PC. Um, if you are a PC user and you're here on the stream, you thank you. Appreciate it. You know, it's definitely a interesting topic. I would admit, I would admit that. But you guys don't have these issues, or you know, Logic Pro is not for PC, obviously. Um, I don't even know how the PC came up, to be honest with you. I'm not like discrediting what you're saying, but you know, Logic Pro is for iPad, it's not for PC. So, um, again, it's going to go back to like, what are you doing on your iPad? What are you doing on any device? How, like, we when you go into that type of territory, like, what memory are you working with? Do you have the correct memory size? Do you have the correct processor? Stuff like that. Um, how are you using the programs? Also your internet speed. That can also be a factor. Is the software on your device receiving enough internet speed, enough data in enough time before it hangs up? Depending on the application you're using, because your application you're using may require a certain amount of data, fed into a software, and maybe the engineers that developed that program did not, factor that in, or you know what I'm saying? Is the software pro softwares? Is it third party programs? Is it the engineers that develop these products is this their first time creating something? Is this, we talking pro gear, or we talking something that's a step below what everybody else is using because of price? When we talk budget, the other issue is, where did you buy your iPad from, or any device? Where did you buy it from? Was it a refurbished model? Was it a used model? Was it brand new? Things hang up. You know what I'm saying? It's like these different factors that plays into, and you could be reading data from multiple people who's saying the same thing, and that might be true, but it still come down to, what are these people doing and why are they complaining? Because for me, I don't have any complaints about what I do on my iPad or any of my devices. Usually my solution to anything, if it don't work, it just don't work. I'm just gonna find something else and find an alternative. Sometimes those alternatives work, sometimes they don't. But I always find an alternative. Sometimes I find alternatives to the alternative that works out totally better than the first alternative to something else that I wasn't willing to pay for, or that option was not available to the first. See, there's a lot of factors that we're talking about. I just feel like the iPad, this whole Logic Pro being on the iPad, is just for those people who feel like it's for them. You know what I mean? It's, if it's for you, it's for you. You gonna rock with it, like, regardless of what people say and what people think. If you're on this live right now and you're like, I'm not paying $5 a month to have Logic Pro on my iPad when I already paid the $200 to have Logic Pro on my bigger systems. Well, there you go. That's great. That's great. Guess what? You don't have to. See, this whole thing right now is not, it's not for people who, they're not making you. It's not like they're saying, hey, if you don't buy subscription to this iPad situation, we're gonna shut off your access to your Logic Pro version that you paid $200 for already. You know what I'm saying? It's like the $5 a month to have this on your iPad is for those people who feel like there's a value there. Obviously, that's just how life works. Period. If you feel a value, I mean, there are some people that's going to complain and say why this isn't worth it, and then there are going to be some people who are going to say why this is worth it. The people who feel like it's worth it are going to be the people who's going to gain the most value because they're going to use it like that. They're gonna find workflows and workarounds to. I just feel like right now it is too early for anybody to say how this is not worth it. It's not even out yet. You know what I'm saying? This is not even available right now. So there's a few videos I've seen about people who think that it ain't worth it because it's essentially it's an extra cost. You're paying $5 a month extra to have access to a platform on your iPad, right? But until you try it, I feel like we shouldn't even see these type of videos until like maybe 3 months later. Towards the end of this year is when we should see why people think it's a bad idea to pay subscription fees to a platform that's been out. You know what I'm saying? But people are already making videos on why this is a bad idea. Like seriously, you ain't even got it. You ain't even downloaded it yet, bro. So what are you talking about? Now, if we talking, and I find this to be true as well. Like a lot of times, I frown up at stuff. Sometimes, like I'm not paying that money, or sometimes I go into stores with the mindset of paying the lowest amount for something. I'm a bargainer. Like I will rather pay $20 for something that can cost me easily $150. If I could pay $20 for that, man, that's a steal. That's great, right? But there are situations where it's like, okay, then when you in there, and that's how they get you. You know, that's why like the wording that's on products, and you know, and if there's a salesperson in there, you know, they're gonna talk up a good talk too. It's, you know, there's a reason why this costs $150 versus $20. Now you could do what you need to with $20, but over here, this is, you know, it is $150, but it does this, it do that, blah 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 blah. And even though you don't need all these other 50 million features, you future proof yourself because you may need that next year. You know, the way the economy is moving and blah blah. You know, they throw all that stuff in there. You know, just the air quality, you know, the quality of the food, whatever, you know, you may want this keyboard because, you know, who knows, you know, those days where it's really cold and windy outside, below zero, whatever, you might want to stay in. You know what I mean? The city may shut everything down and you can't go anywhere because everything's frozen to death. But if you got this keyboard that costs you $1,500 versus the one you're going to pay $200 for, well, you might want to get this because if you're in the house for a very long time, this keyboard could do this, that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? They're always gonna upsell you and make the story sound better. It would throw other scenarios in there that kind of make you think like, oh, well, yeah, it may get cold. The weather has been acting funny lately. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And then you start thinking, and then before you know it, that $20 turned into $200. $200 turned into $2,000. And now you like, okay, which one should I go with? $1,800 or $2,000 or the one for $2,100? And that now you like, damn, I came in here prepared to spend only $20. Now I'm thinking about spending, because you already did the math in your head. Like, you know, if I sacrifice on this, if I move this over here, divide that, bring the 2 over and divide that by 10, I could probably do it. You know, if I just don't do this. tomorrow or next week, I can live without that. So now, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that we do as humans. But anyway, if you download the app and then you find that it does like these really cool things that you probably can't do in Logic Pro, then that $5 become convenient, wouldn't it? Like, I only paid $5 for this. I'm only paying $5 a month for it. But I'm not selling. I'm not selling this product. I don't even use Logic, but I'm just saying. I just feel like people be on YouTube capping. Like, seriously, like, why y'all capping, bro? This thing ain't even out yet, bro. Anyway, it is what it is. All right, let's keep it going. Which app are you using? Okay, the app that I'm using is Studio One. That's what I use. Studio One, Bitwig. Bitwig is what I've been using lately. But when you say apps, I don't really use apps for iPad. Or if you just asking what apps, like what type of stuff I use on my iPad, the type of apps on my iPad that I use is, normal stuff like Instagram. I got Facebook on here. I got all of my email clients. I got Gmail on here. The mail software that can read the other email platforms that I have. But then if I'm doing art, I have Infinity Photo, Infinity Designer. I have Fusion on here. I have a couple of movie editing softwares on here. Of course, I got Pages on here, a Keynote on here. All the Microsoft alternatives or Apple's alternative to those platforms. This type of stuff I use on here. I'm using Notes a lot because I'm always making notes. Let's see, what else do I have on here? I had iMachine on here. I always had that on here. I never use it no more. I used to in the past. I got Cubases on here. Not really in Cubases, but I am still impressed with Cubases. That's on my iPad. So what you can do in there, and I think that is free. That is free. Some people will say that as an alternative, and Cubases is definitely a great alternative when it comes to like music software apps that you can have on your iPad. But like the other thing you want to keep in mind is that, like, although those are great alternatives, if I think the whole purpose of paying the $5 is not looking at it as a it's not looking at it like most people look at it. Oh, Logic Pro on iPad. I think is more so like, man, I've been waiting for this. I've been wondering when they was gonna do this, and now I'm gonna go ahead and pay $5 because I always wanted this. I've only been asking for this for forever, and now it's here. And I'm going to pay the $5 a month to have it because this is what I've been wanting. Like those people, those are the type of people who has this, and those people who is going to pay the $5 are going to be the people who wanted that integration with Logic, because you already have Logic. That's going to be the people who don't have an issue with getting this app. That's the people. The people who's been waiting on it. Is not, hey world, there's another app on the platform that that you can download to your iPad. But by the way, it's $5. If that's the people who's gonna complain, because the people who's responding to that from that angle are the people who's complaining, and or the people who already own Logic and feel like they shouldn't pay no more because they paid Weasley $200. And quite frankly, the $200, like I say, has been there for a while. Apple has not moved from that price point in a long time. When I first bought Logic, it was at $800. No, it was $9.99. I remember them numbers. I went to the Apple store one time and it was in this gray. Well, no, it was in this black box. It was like the piano design was on it. I don't know if y'all remember that, but it was on the shelf. It was obviously not something you could download from any cloud server because that wasn't a thing yet. You had to buy the actual program physically, get it shipped to you, or step in the store and buy it from Apple themselves. There was a couple of third parties that you can, like maybe Fry's or Guitar Center. You can go to Guitar Center, places like that, Sam Ash, places that were, musical licensed resellers. You can go in there and buy it. It was at $9.99 at the time, and then it was different price points, different places. Some places was like $1,200. It was like, really, like, y'all mark it up like that for real. $9.99. I remember, and I felt like I went to the store like once a month. It would seem like, man, like, is that price gonna change? You know what I'm saying? $9.99. That's when I first saw it. When I first got interest in it. You know what I'm saying? And then that price went down one time. It was at $5.99. It was half the price. I think that's when I bought it. That's when I bought it. When that price went to that price, I bought Logic Pro at $5.99. I think that was 8.0. 8.0 or 9. No. It was one of those. I can't remember. I remember being an 8.0. But I don't remember if I paid $5.99 for 8.0. I don't remember. But anyway, at that price point is when I bought it. I remember that. And then I think one time they went down to $3.99, if I'm not mistaken. And now they've been at the $199 price point for a very long time. They've just been sitting there. Right now. Yeah. They've been sitting at that price point for a minute. Let me see. Let's see if they still right there. They might still be at that price point. Well, I probably won't be able to see it because I already have Logic, so I might not be able to see the price. Yeah, because for me it just says update. Oh, what is that? Maybe I do need to update. Yeah, sorry guys. It's not going to show me in the App Store. What is that? We need to, let's update that and see what happens. Okay, maybe if I go, let's go to, let's say Logic Pro for Mac. $199. So yeah, they're still sitting at that price. So for all your Mac devices, $199. Well, $199 one time, and as long as you have access to that account, you can put it on all of the Macs that you have in your house. Like I have this on everything. It's on my MacBook Pro, the iMac. It's on my My other MacBook Pro, I have two. And it's obviously on my other. I have two iMacs, two MacBook Pros. So it's on all those models. Um, yeah, $199. It's just been sitting at that price for a minute now. And on the iPad it's $5. So what if you're one of the persons who wanted to get into the Logic Pro and you was like that $199 was too much. It was too expensive. So now you interested in this. What about you guys? And I'm thinking this is probably also geared towards the people who has not been on iPad or that has iPad, but maybe you got an iPad for Christmas. You know what I'm saying? You got an iPad for Christmas, but you've been using other platforms to make beats, but now you learned about this whole deal where Logic Pro is coming to the platform for $5. For people like you, you're gonna jump on it. Like, man, that's only $5 a month. Sweet. You know what I'm saying? So to people like that, this is great. $5 a month. I don't have to pay $199. I'm just pay $5 a month. In a year, that's only $60, right? In 2 years, that's $120. You're still a little bit under the $199 ultimately, but it's on the iPad. But if you're making money using these devices, it's just going to be a write-off, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? To some people who own business, or you know what I'm saying, like, what's $5 a month? You spend easily $5 a month buying one bottle of water. You know what I'm saying? This is a bottle of water. Bottle of water. Trade in a bottle of water to own a platform that can make you thousands of dollars. That's how I look at it. But I get it though, because this is a extra fee that people are spending on top of other things that you might be doing. Like me, I have a bunch of subscriptions to several platforms. I'm paying what, $15 to Slate, I think, $19 to Slate a month for them just to have their platform. Then I'm Splice is another ordeal, and then Output is another ordeal. I'm paying subscription to. There's probably a few more that I'm forgetting. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I am with that. But let me get back to the questions. I have neglected you guys. I apologize. I just wanted to get my thoughts out real quick. But let's go back to the Q&A and see what you guys are talking about. Yeah, somebody says the Windows blue screen of death was horrible. Let me tell y'all something. I'll tell you what happened to me one time. Well, this one time speaks for a few times that it happened. Okay, so for some of you guys that don't know, I am also an audio visual person. Like, y'all gotta know this thing that we do, music production here. Like, it's not the only thing that I do, but it's not the only direction that I'm in. I'm still into video and audio and like all that stuff. So in the corporate scene, I'm a part of a show team, right? And a part of what we do is run PowerPoint presentations for CEOs from bigger corporations that comes in to the different hotels and the regions, depending on where they are. And so when we doing things like that, we got big screens, big projectors, lights, smoke machines, in terms of light, talking about motion lights that just go all which way in the room, different colors, different patterns, and wash lights that key in on the stage. Like those professional shows. Like every time y'all see like Apple, if you ever seen those Apple events, like them walking on the stage, that type of stuff that we do. Where there's camera involved, got to make sure the white noise is, so we dealing with cameras and stuff like that. What we broadcast into other platforms depending on what the client want to do, stuff like that. So clients will build their presentations and whatnot onto their PC. PC is a huge deal in the corporate world. Everybody owns a PC. A lot of these shows are built on PCs, right? And it could be a brand new PC, a total brand new, something that somebody bought last week. They'll bring in, set it up, you know what I'm saying, and we'll patch it through, no issues. All right, touch drive, cool. Everything seemed to be cool, fast. Boom, 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 boom. Come day of show, and this is one scenario. Come day of show, the laptop went black. And it was one time it was just for no reason. It was like, what happened? Like it immediately just something, okay. Like, whoa, like, well, how it's a brand new computer. And I'm just sitting there like, ma'am, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I feel like I'm very knowledgeable. I feel like I'm very good at what I do because I've been doing it for years. But that, I can't explain that. I can't explain why your laptop that you bought last week shut down like that. There's been another instance where a laptop will update in the middle of the show. I'm talking about like a show where we got like 500 people, 700 people in the audience paying attention to the screens as the presenter is walking across the stage, and the laptop will do a update in the middle of that. It will just automatically does an update. It was a PC, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on? There was no way to shut it off or cut it off, and on that laptop, we not already shut off any updates and whatever the case may be, but it just happened, like boom, like and I think it was probably one of those things where the owner ignored it so many times, but the machine was like, you've ignored me so many times, I'm going to update regardless of what you're doing, and boom. And so we had to get the show run up on a secondary laptop. You should always have a backup, but different scenarios, different situations, people budgets and stuff like that, because in order to have a backup, you have to have a second computer, and that's an extra fee, whatever. I'm not gonna go into all that, but basically all of the issues has been happening on PCs. That's my point. And I'm not gonna say we didn't have any issues with Macs. We have had some issues with Macs. Macs have an ordeal where it will not connect with every system in terms of like adapters and switchers and whatnot. So there is a solution to some of these things, but it's just, sometimes it just don't work. A lot of people will buy third-party adapters, you know what I'm saying? Because the one that their Mac came with in the box, they lost it. You know how these little bitty devices get lost and, somebody else picked it up. All types of issues. So we have all types of problems, but I say the most I've seen, I just know that Macs are not for major production. I digress. I think it depends on what you're doing, because you can't plug a Mac straight in to some computers and to some systems it just won't work. You have to have some other, and I'm talking range. Anyway, that's technical. I'm not gonna get into that because I would break this crap down. This is what I do, but I'm trying to not to fall in the ditch. But basically, so when you want to, when people throw the PC thing in there, um, I've been working on both platforms long enough and have had so much experience with them. I could tell you this: when I'm done with the show, I am so happy to be back on the Mac, doing what I do best. Everything that I do, I run from Macs, and that's just my workflow. You guys might think differently, but again, everybody has a different perspective. And that's why I never get into those type of worlds. I will never get on here and say that Macs are better than PCs. I'm just telling y'all from my experience. Well, I don't really care for PCs, but you guys may experience something different because you're not using PCs like I'm using. You're not in no big production show where you're broadcasting to everybody. You know what I'm saying? You're not in those type of setups or whatever. So if you're on there just gaming all day, you might be fine. You might be okay. And I have been in several shows where PCs ran flawless. No issues. Smooth, fast, no hiccups. Everything just worked. You know what I'm saying? I've been in situations like that. So it just always boils down to what people are doing on a situation. What are you doing? What type of stuff are you doing? What, you know what I mean? Like, what's your situation? Everybody's situation is different. So for me, the Mac world it's right there. You know what I'm saying? That's where it is. Okay. All right, Rahuru. Yeah. I answered your question. All right, sweet, 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 sweet. I was stating that dolls on iPad crashes on my N1 pad, and I'm referring to iPad apps working like VSTs on. I already read that. Cubase's and Drambo crash for me on iPad, but I mean, all the stable. Okay, okay, okay. Um, X Green says, you feel like the Logic Pro will have the same impact on your iPad when you experience crashes or whatever. What type of iPad do you have, if you don't mind me asking? Because yeah, what type of iPad do you have, and how much memory do you have? What's up, two nickels? Two nickels in the building. Spaces in the building. He says 199. Yeah, I saw that. Yes, sir. Appreciate your response. Um, Cubase is 50. Somebody said iMachine is trash. Primetime says I'm getting into Studio One, Logic Pro, becoming blah to me now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I switched. That's why I switched. I promise you. I promise you. That's why I switched. And you feeling like blah in Logic Pro was where I was in Logic Pro 9. That's when I made the switch. We was in Logic Pro 9, and it was like that for years, man. It was like you just watch everybody else driving in Ferraris, and then you over here go a Bentley, go a Tesla over here. And over here come a Mercedes Benz, and over here come a Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying? And then you right here in the Honda. Like, man, one day That's what you're thinking. One day, bruh. One day I'm gonna be able to drive in one of these things that you know what I'm saying? And you driving in that Honda, you hanging on in there because the first thing or the most logical thing that civilized or simple people think is as long as it gets you from point A to point B, you should be fine. Um, yeah, that's great, but sometimes getting you from point A to point B is it seems like it's going from point A to point Z. You know what I'm saying? Because you got those different things, those different factors in the middle that's happening in order to get to the end point, and that's the part that gets frustrating. You know, I like to look nice rolling down the road. You know, rolling down the street, whatever, and walk out a store or whatever. You know, or on my way somewhere. I like to be able to like, yeah, I'm driving that. You know what I'm saying? Some people are embarrassed by what they drive, but it gets you somewhere. It's taking you from here to here. You know, that's all. But sometimes it's like it's how it drives. It's like what you have to endure. You know, when it's hot outside, the AC not working, so you got to like crank your windows all the way open, and then doing that is not all great. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hot outside. You ain't got no AC, but you got to breathe. But you're on your way to an event where you got to be fresh. You just did your hair, just got your nails did. You just put on some fragrance. You know what I'm saying? And you don't want to go in and smell like you jogged all the way from your house to the event, and you certainly don't want to look like it. So you know what I mean. But you driving a Honda and you point A to point B. But that's yeah, you know. I mean, but yeah, I get it. You know, people's budget is, you know, it's all about the budget. You know, sometimes that's just you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes, and that's definitely a point. You know what I mean? It's definitely a point. I think the same situation falls here. Well, you know, hey, you know, luxury over whatever. I think you get the point. I think you get the point. But you know, sometimes you got to treat yourself. You know, sometimes you got to change it up, move on. I don't even know who I'm talking to, but yeah. But appreciate you guys for joining. Likes up on the video. Can I get some likes? Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, man. I appreciate it. If y'all are not subscribers here, I appreciate you subscribing. You know what I'm saying? Because we talk about stuff like this all the time. I wasn't gonna do this video, but here we are. You know, people already been talking about it, and I just felt like, okay, there's no point in me saying much about Logic Pro because I really don't use Logic Pro like that. But people have been asking me about it, what my thoughts are, and I said, you know, let me just go live and just talk to the people, see what y'all feeling. So y'all tell me what y'all think. Is, you know, will you be the person that join this subscription, this new subscription thing? First of all, before y'all answer that, let me know if you own Logic. Do you own Logic, and will you go for the subscription to have this on the iPad? The other factor is that a lot of y'all probably don't own iPads. So that's the other thing. Like, man, I gotta go buy an iPad in order to pay the $5 a month. You know what I'm saying? First, let me find the money to buy an iPad first. Then let's talk about subscription every month. And some people right there at that point gonna be like, I'll just pay $800 for this thing. Why would I go pay $5 extra a month to have a app on my situation? You know what I'm saying? iPad is also touch. Yep. What apps are you using to make music on your iPad? I don't really I don't really make music on my iPad. I would like to. I've made music on my iPad several times using several apps. Just testing them out, seeing how they work. I'd say the one that was most impressive to me was the Cubases on the iPad. I believe you get Cubases on the iPhone as well. Like you can make music that way. I've used GarageBand, and I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. No issues there. GarageBand in the iPad is exceptional. There's another one that I can't remember that I was using on the iPad. It's kind of like an NPC. It reminds me of the NPC, but it like you can do it. You can use it on the iPad. I can't remember. It's been a while, but that was another one I was doing or using. But serious music, stuff that I'm taking my time and I'm sending it off. I'm doing it on a computer. Like the stuff that has the music that has details and the way I like to make music. I'm doing it on a computer. I don't really have that type of patience, but I do like the concept. See, the thing is, I like the concept of having a app solution, a way to start something off and finish it off later. And that's what I was doing with iMachine. iMachine was that solution where I would start something off, and then finish it up later, import it in. But the way I had to do that was crazy though. It's like you had to go to iTunes and download, and you had to find iMachine in the app in iTunes. You had to, what I'm saying? iTunes was the bridge. Download it from there, and then there are some desktop apps that are already on the iPad, like File Filter, Baby Audio. iPad is way more compatible than people that don't use it for music production. Absolutely. I agree. I agree with you 100%. Another one is Alturia. Alturia's got some amazing instruments on the iPad already. It's just a lot of companies that are doing a thing. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. What's up, DJ Dale? I do pro lighting and PC is preferred when running. Absolutely. You know what? I'm gonna say this as well. I am never knocking people who use PC. I feel like the PC is great. You know what I mean? There are definitely, just like Macs, there are applications that are made exclusively on PC. PCs are a great machine. They're definitely a better alternative to Macs because Macs are a little bit more expensive. You can get a PC $500, maybe cheaper, depending on where you go. You know what I'm saying? Like PCs are a great machine to have. You know what I mean? Like I ain't knocking them. I'm never gonna knock people who use PC. To go along with what I was sharing earlier, like in the AV world, to your point, Maze, to your point, most of the softwares that we use to power up and or to program different things to do what we do is through PC. You know what I'm saying? I agree with you with that point. Like the guys use the PC to program different scenes for, LED walls and whatnot. Stuff like that. Like they're using the PC to do that. Of course, to program things and do stuff like that. That's nothing. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. When we doing audio, however, or video, when we talking about like stabilizing or just how things work. We always use a Mac though. Using like things like Playback Pro. Um, we have Playback Pro, and we always run the videos through that program on the Mac. And when we doing like audio recording, things like that, all of the different machines, believe it or not, all of the different machines that we use that record movies or, that record film, if there's a camera, you know, most of those machines, just think about it. Most of those machines that are made by several other companies like Blackmagic, what's the other one? I can't think of the other ones, but it's a few other ones that we use in terms of like different, recording devices, and the card that's used in those to capture the audio or the video always come in MOV. The file format always spits down as MOV, bruh. So if you don't know what MOV is a container that holds the video files. You can't use a PC when you're trying to access those files. It won't pull up at all. That's a Mac language. You can only use a Mac to open those files up. And on these devices, it won't allow you to go straight. Well, one of them may allow you to go to MP4 or M4A or something like that. But they don't. Most of them don't. It's just straight to MOV. So we need a Mac to open those files up and render those files as a compatible file format for PCs to be able to use it as well. So that right there is interesting. You try to do this on the PC. Macs are just like sturdier for like media, multimedia and stuff like that. Like when you're doing things like that, they're more stable. And I could prove that because the Mac that I have right now, my iMac, I bought that in 2010. Yeah, 2010, 2011. Right now it's 2023. That thing still turns on. Now it's not able to update to the latest software, the iOS software right now, because it's obviously outdated. The hardware. I don't really care because I only what I mean. But that used to be my powerhouse. That's what I was using before I got this one. I updated this iMac that I have now. It's a 2019 because I bought it closer to 2020, 2021, one of those years. But I will be upgrading this pretty soon anyway. But the one I bought in 2010 still cuts on like a pro, like no issues. Like it's sweet. Like it cuts on like normal. it just works. It just works. Try doing that with a PC, bruh. After a couple of years, it's time to buy a new one. That's just been my experience. With a PC. It's like so like when you think about it over time owning a Mac is probably cheaper. It's probably cheaper. So it's like you pay the full lump sum up front. Mac and PC would be subscription. PC would be the subscription to the Mac. Are you going to pay the subscription, or are you going to just buy the perpetual license to it? You know what I'm saying? You just buy a good Mac, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500, whatever the case may be, right? And you will never have to buy a new Mac ever for years versus a PC. Every time you buy a new PC, it's going to add up to that price, the same price, if not a little more. I'm just saying, man. I don't make this stuff up. This. I be watching people and listening to people. People be putting out videos and saying stuff like that. And I guess I am. It's coming from me too because I have experience. Like I had a PC. I owned a PC before. That thing didn't last me a year. And of course, on Macs now, I do way more stuff than I've done on that PC that I owned years ago. I do way more stuff, like 100 times more, 100 times more stuff on these Macs than I've ever done on that PC that I had for only one year. And it crap down. It would not like at one time it had issues with turning on, like it didn't want to turn on, and it was going through this update, and it didn't finish. It was I don't know. I had more issues on the PC than I did the Mac. So I'm just saying that people buy two 2.99 Walmart special, get mad when it doesn't work, turn around and spend $2,500 on the Mac. Yeah, man. I mean, that's just the nature. You said FL Mobile, two nickels. Um, FL Studios on mobile. I think I is that right? I've sold several beats using BM3. But yeah, Maze, that's definitely you're spot on. That's how it works. That's how the world goes. People complain about stuff that they shouldn't complain about. The Grand MA and the Hog. Yeah, I see you. I see you working out there. I see you. I feel like Apple is on the straight money grab now. They were already doing it on the accessories for the products, but they're joining the party with subscription money grabs now. Not a good look. He said it's not a good look. We'll throw that up on the screen for y'all. He says money. He says Apple's out there trying to get the money. They out there trying to get your money, guys. That's what that says. What y'all think about that? I'm gonna tell you what I think about that. I mean, and oh crap, oh tripping. I'll tell y'all what I think about that. Is Apple trying to is out here trying to get your money? Two niggas says yeah. Let me tell y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all something. See, first of all, Apple is a business. First and foremost, they are business, right? This business has a model called make money, right? They have employees. They have a full staff that creates and spearhead different projects. Um, and in doing so, Apple tends to Apple is sitting at the top right now is because it's not because they charge the most money for their products. It's because the quality that stands behind their name. Like I just finished telling y'all, um, you know, why I am a avid user of Apple. There's just quality. You know, I can see why it costs so much money because their materials and the design. I mean, there are some designs that don't work. You know, if you look at the history, there are some things that worked and some things that didn't work. They had to discontinue some things because of that purpose. You know, Apple was an innovator. You know, they're just like us, you know, or anybody else. You know, you create something, you think it'll work, and it don't work. Okay, you got to pull it back. There's no reason of having something sitting on the shelf that's not selling. So you got to make a decision. You got to fall back, come up with something else. Um, when you say things like that, like I mean, but just think about any other company. You know, when you want to go and eat, you spending money because the folks that's preparing your food, they're in this business called make money. They have employees that's making the food. Employees ship the food from this place to this place. Believe it or not, there are people that makes the machines that these food gets cooked on. You know, and the company has to make a decision to buy the best machines or to buy a machine at $200. No pun intended. You know what I mean? And they break down every so often. You know what I mean? And then you got to spend more money. So these companies get wiser and they try to minimize their costs, their overheads. You know, the fee that they need to pay to stay in business. You know what I'm saying? So you might spend a little bit more money on something to last a longer time, which means better material, better quality, better care on certain machines. And that also means that you might have to charge a little bit more, you know, the products that are made from that machine. In this case, we're talking about food. You know what I mean? You might have to charge an extra 20 cents on a burger or something like that because you got this machine that costs nice money and you're trying to make your money back. You're trying to get a profit. You're trying to make sense in the business. So there's different reasons why a company will hike the price for something or blah 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 whatever, right? So the first thing we think is like, man, they trying to get over. I mean, maybe, or maybe they just their quality, better quality. Over time, you won't have to buy that product as often as you would if you was to go to a gas station to buy stuff. Because for that same reason, iPhone chargers, you know, a little cable that people lose a lot. So instead of people taking care of those cables because they know they know it's super expensive, they lose them. And because they're rare, like you know, they come with each iPhone, they become up missing, meaning people steal this. Like it's one of those like sought out, yeah, accessories. Like if somebody gets to a public, like you get on the bus, you see an iPhone charger laying in the chair, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna just toss it. No, you're gonna take that and you can put it in your pocket. But if you see an Android charger on the seat, you're not gonna take it. You might, but you're not. Most of the times you're not. Because iPhone chargers are expensive because they're better quality. And if you got an iPhone charger and you take care of it, it's going to last you a very long time. Because of the engineering perspective of it, it makes sense. Just think about it. Now this cable right here, I just stuck this in my old iPhone here. But like, if you could see that, you know what a lightning cable is. Like, if you think about the engineering behind this lightning cable, like it's just so clever. Like, it's just a solid puck or piece that sticks in the opening port of your iPhone. That's genius. But or even these USB C3s, the new connections that are out now. This is genius. Um, but there's a lot of people who's using these now. Like, so the chances of these becoming stolen won't be as much as these, because these are the only cables that connects lightning to an iPhone or any like device that was made with this. Is not like your speakers are going to charge up with this cable. You know what I mean? But your speakers may charge up with this cable. You can connect this to your speakers, your camera, your earphones. You know what I'm saying? You can power up other devices. You know, pretty soon the iPad. Well, actually, the iPad now is talking to this cable. My my MacBook Pro is talking to this cable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is a universal connection with USB C3, but the Lightning is not. So this is more expensive, and people steal those things because even right now, um, our phone still has that Lightning, and so when those come up missing, people steal them and they never give them back, and it's like they came up on something, and yeah, they cost more because it's not they're only used for iPhones, but there is like a bunch of people who use iPhones or products that use that port. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like it's that thing, right? But they last long. They last a very long, 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 long time if you take care of them. You see what I'm saying? Um, and for that same reason, because they cost more, there are other third party companies that tries to attempt to make those same cables, the same lightning cable right here, and they'll sell them in the gas station. But guess what? After maybe 20 times of plugging in your iPhone, they stop working. They stop working. It's not the original. It's like something that they're doing engineering wise is happening at iPhone, at Apple. If you don't have the original, you know, but at the end of the day, they're a company. They're there to make money. They're a business. You know, when you go to Starbucks, you go there and you're not gonna say, "Oh, is Starbucks there?" They just trying to rip people off. Well, if they take their coffees up $1, are you gonna pay that dollar, or are you gonna be like, I'm not gonna buy any Starbucks, even though I've been drinking their coffee for about a year and I love their coffee over everybody else. I'm not gonna pay that dollar because they're charging me $1. So I'm gonna go and grab a cheaper coffee down the street because their prices are better, but it's not gonna give me the same results as to why I've been drinking Starbucks coffee for this year. But the whole reason, the concept behind them raising their prices $1 higher is because things are more, cost more. Every year their cost of living kind of increase. They have to increase their prices, and other reasons they probably why they would increase their prices. They're in there to make a profit, but at the end of the day, there's a quality. There's a certain type of quality that they have to their name that is why a lot of people who drink their coffee. So there is a lot of people who will still drink their coffee even if they increase their prices $2 a cup. People will still buy their coffee. They would trip out. Yeah, of course. Oh my gosh, do you believe it? Starbucks raised their price $2. But guess what? They're on their way while they making a complaint to buy a coffee because it's a brand. It's a brand. It's all about loyalty, I guess. Apple is kind of the same way. So I mean, and this is not to bash on anybody. Like, that's not what I'm doing. I have a different approach, a different perspective when it comes to Apple. Yeah, they are more expensive, but like you know this to be a fact. You know this to be true when you have people who the prices are more expensive versus this. There's a reason why Apple is more expensive. The quality is a lot better. The quality lasts longer. I just told y'all my Mac computer that I bought over 10 years ago still cuts on and run like a pro. It runs like a pro. My PC, this MacBook, this iMac that I bought years ago, and I remember the price I paid for it. It was $1,100 because I bought it refurbished. I didn't buy it brand new. I bought it refurbished. It was $1,100. I remember paying a little bit over $1,000, taxes and whatnot, shipping. It's about $1,100. $1,100 on a box computer and everything built into the screen that sits on your desk. There's no extra cables from a box to a screen. None of that. It was just one box. The computer is in the same box as the memory, as the processing chip, as everything. $1,100. Some people was like, how could you do that? But guess what? 10 years plus later, the thing still cuts on. A PC usually don't last that long. But it could, I guess. I don't know. It depends on what you're doing to it. But I use that MacBook Pro that I have heavy because it was my main. I made so much money with that machine. I've only upgraded to this one like a couple years ago. The one I'm using right now has only been upgraded a couple years ago. So I've been using that machine plus 10 years plus. I made so much money off of that machine. So much money. And everything still cuts on. It's just now sitting in the background. I barely turn it on, but like when I cut it on the other day, probably like a couple months ago, it turns on like a charm. There's no issues with it. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Everything works properly. You know what I'm saying? That's where that $1,100 went. It went to like the longevity of the machine. The machine was built well. It was built with quality. No issues whatsoever. Nothing blew up. Nothing burned down. I didn't have to replace anything. Well, yeah, I did. The only thing I replaced was the memory because the memory came at 8. No, it was 4. 4 gigs for the processor, I believe, or the memory. Yeah, the memory is at 4 gigs when I first bought it. I maxed it out to 16. 16 gigs for the memory. Or was it 8 gigs? I think it was 16. Anyway, I maxed out the memory to be able to use programs like, editing videos and music production and stuff like that. Just so it can handle that. But that's it. It didn't get replaced because it failed. It got replaced because I just wanted to upgrade the potential, the power. That's all. That's it. That's the only thing I updated. That's it. I didn't have to go in there and mess with the hard drive and all that other stuff that people try to do. I ain't do any of that. It was everything in there was still factory. Didn't have to replace the screen. Didn't have to replace any ports. Didn't have to do nothing. I never really had to open it up for anything, to be honest with you. Just occasionally get a little dust on it and just wipe it down. Psh, good to go. That thing still cuts on like a charm. You know what I'm saying? The thing is still cool. It's sweet. Keep the hard drive space down. At least I try to. That's the thing. Like your computer runs slow because you have so much stuff on your computer. You fill it up to capacity, and that's why your computer will run slow or why things will crash. That's another fact I didn't even mention. But yeah, if you experiencing crashes, you got to look at what's on your computer, what's on your devices, what's on there, because if it's full, yeah, you're going to experience problems. You got a bunch of stuff on the, yeah. That's the reason why we preach hard drive, external hard. I got a few of them, man. I'm trying to get some more. You got one of these? External hard drives. You need this. This is the part of the music world, you got to have hard drives, external hard drives, to put your library on. You can't do all the stuff on your computer. That's ridiculous. Yeah, of course you're going to run into issues. You know what I'm saying? 803 is in the building. What's up, bro? Yeah, man. Yeah, we've been here for a little bit talking about the Logic Pro um mainly. But yeah, Logic Pro in Final Cut is will be on the iPads pretty soon. And I'm gonna answer. This is my response to that. You know, them being having presence on um having a presence on the iPad. Um, I feel like it's never too late. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like this should have been done a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? I do feel that way, but it's here now. Well, not physically, but it's here. You know what I mean? It's interesting how they have a page for it, but there is no way to get it. Like it's not in the App Store yet. Like I didn't see it, but it's here. Available 5/23. Okay, so we got a few more days. I didn't realize that was the release date. So on the 23rd, I think that's what that is. May 23rd, it will be available, but it's gonna come at a cost. Get one month free and pay $5 a month, or pay $49 annually. So $5 times all the months in the year, it's gonna come out to 60. If you buy it, you know, in one lump sum, you save $10. You just buy it at $50. I mean, sorry, yeah, just get it for $50 and have it for a full year. There are some apps on my iPhone, iPad that I am paying a monthly subscription to it because I like what it does. I like it. It's cool. So I'm paying the monthly subscription to it. Yeah, there's a couple of them on here. If I want to have this on my iPad, it's $5. I mean, yeah, it's an extra fee. Yeah, of course. But like, if if you're the person who's complaining about this, and again, I'm not a salesperson. I'm just stating the obvious. Like, because it's too many people who complaining about nothing. That's what I feel like. If you're complaining about it, then don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But look at this. Yeah, yeah, you should be able to do this for free. Yeah, this should be available for free because you've already paid. You already paid $200. You know, so you paid $200 to have Logic Pro on your system, and now they coming out with this. They want more money to have this on your iPad, and you're thinking, man, I already paid $200 to have it on my system, but now they coming out with this on the iPad. It's not even worth it, or is it? $5 extra a month, man. I feel like they ripping me off. They after my money. They trying to get more money out of me. You know what I'm saying? Well, I feel like this. This is my solution to this here. This is what I think, and y'all going, man, just hear me out. This is what I feel. If you don't want to pay $5 a month for it, then just don't pay $5 a month for this. You don't have to have this. No one said you have to have a companion on your iPad. A lot of y'all don't even have an iPad. You know what I'm saying? That's the other factor. You got to have an iPad in order to run this, right? That's the first thing. Um, but you don't have to have this on your computer. Simple as that. You don't have to. There's no rule in the industry that says you have to pay $5 a month to have Logic Pro on your system in order to be a great producer. There's no rules that says that. Absolutely no rules. At this point, Apple is a goat. They they are the goat of machine and application and just how things works. They are the goats right now. Um, and I vouch for that statement I just said. They're the goat. Like everything I have is Apple. Everything I have in the years that I spent owning these products from the very first computer I've ever owned, which was a Mac. Well, the first one was a PC. My parents, that was the first PC that was in the house. I'll go even beyond that. The first PC that I had my hands or had access to was a computer that my parents bought for the house. But it really was for the house. It was for whenever they want to use it. You know what I mean? But when they weren't using, we can use it. But, it was only one computer in the house. And that was that PC. That PC had some issues over time. You know what I'm saying? It definitely had some issues. It got slow, and but see, at that time, nobody really knew how to care for a PC or care for a computer of that matter. Anyway, people were doing, homework, writing papers for school, stuff like that, doing internet research for projects. So we had to have a computer because it was required. And then, me, I saved up my money. I was playing drums at the church. Save up enough money to buy my own PC. So I bought myself a PC so I won't have to be waiting on somebody else to be done with their whatever. Because my sisters, man, stuff they was doing in school, man, they was writing like 20-page papers and stuff like that. It took time because you got to do research and blah blah blah. But I had homework too. Things I want to do. So I bought my own PC, and that thing just didn't last long. I bought a Dell. It was a Dell desktop version. Oh man. But anyway, it didn't last long. It didn't last long at all. I had to trash to get rid of it. And then I had someone, it was a homie, let me hold down a Mac because he wasn't using it. So he let me hold down a Mac, and man, I think things went to another level because that Mac was it was dope. It was powerful. It had Pro Tools on there, and that's like how I learned Pro Tools. But that Mac I was like, man, I gotta give me one of these. And then I learned that in the music industry world, like most people were using Macs. If you were serious, it was just a thing that was that was what was happening at that time. You weren't serious about this industry unless you had a Mac. Studios I was going to because I was making beats or started to make beats. It was Macs. People had Macs. People were doing things on the Macs. If you was into video production, you was doing it on the Mac. You know what I'm saying? So I had it in my mind, I'm going to give me a Mac. I want the best. I want a powerful machine like that to do what I got to do because that's what they using. So I saved my money and got me a Mac. You know what I mean? Got me a Mac, man. And that Mac is still with me. 10 plus years later. Well, that wasn't, actually, to be honest with y'all, that wasn't the first Mac. I'm lying. That was the iMac. That was 10 years ago. My MacBook Pro, though, the very first one. I own 3 MacBook Pros, y'all. But the very first MacBook Pro, I have to go in that thing and I have to look it up. See when, I don't even remember when I bought it. Because if I go on my Apple account, it's not going to tell me. I bought it refurbished, as a matter of fact. I never really bought anything new. I bought it as a refurbished model. That thing was like a little bit out the high school. That's when I bought that one. My first MacBook Pro. Very first MacBook Pro. The battery is obviously blown in it. But when I plug up power to it, it turns on. The only thing that's wrong with that is like on the screen, there's like this film piece, on the screen. It's like a couple of spots where it got burnt out. That's the only thing. Like you can kind of see it's like little small little holes or whatever. But the screen still works. Like it's not like pixelated or like how you chip a screen and it's like the light of the screen, like part of it lights up and second be like gray or like a gradient color. It just burnt out in that area. That's it. But everything around it, the colors and everything, like is perfect. It still cuts on. I forgot to talk about that one. It still cuts on. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm still able to turn this thing on years later, bro. That one is over 10 years old. That's probably 20 years. Yeah, that's probably 20 years. 20 years old, probably. Either 15 or 20 years old. Something like that. I don't remember when I bought it, but I just like that was my very first Mac, and I man, I don't even remember the hard drive space I have on that, but it still turns on. I haven't turned it on this year. I turned it on last year to see if it still turns on. That one took the MagSafe power. That was when they was making those MagSafe power. Ooh, remember that? Now they bringing it back, right? I feel like that was the best design ever. The MagSafe. Then they switched it to USB-C. The only cool thing about this is that you can plug, like on the latest one I have, which is I don't remember what year it is, but it's the one I keep with me. But this is a USB-C version. It's got 4 USB-C slots on there. I can plug this into either slot to get power from it. That's the only. In terms of power, I think that's the only thing that's cool about having this port. Is you can plug it anywhere and it need power. It's not a dedicated. With the MagSafe, obviously there's only one slot that has, what I'm saying? There's only one slot, but the caveat of that is that if someone cross paths you, accidentally pull your cable out, or instead of your whole computer yank with that, the MagSafe deal will fall out that slot versus the entire computer coming down to the ground. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing about that. What what external hard drive? What external hard drive do I recommend for libraries and plugins? I would say for me, I've been using lacy drives for years, but I wanted to change up and do something a little different. So I started getting into the black drives. I'm trying to remember who make those. Okay, let me look it up. It's going to be by a company that I really don't care for. But WD make these black drives. Western Digital. Okay. Western Digital, but you got to go for the gaming ones. the the black. It's got to be the black one, the black drive, because those are made for gaming. So they have a little bit more durability. You know what I mean? It's built a certain kind of way. It's built for high capacity, high data speeds. You know what I'm saying? It's the same as if you buy a PC, you try to do music production and editing movies and stuff like that. You got to buy a gamer's computer or one that's designed or custom designed to be able to handle gaming, because gaming is a high capacity, data driven, and everything has got to be spot on. You know, so that's the same concept when it comes to drives, or even why I use Mac computers is for that type of, that whole deal right there. But yeah, I would recommend that. Or if you go for a lacy drive, just make sure you don't go for a drive that says high speed. Don't let them fool you. You need to know the RPM levels. If it's going to be a solid state is cool. A solid state is probably what I recommend using for projects. If you making beats, you save your work onto a solid state drive because it's quicker. It responds quick, whatever. And I'm telling y'all my workflow. I will use an SSD for this purpose. So when I do beats online, like showing you guys stuff, I always save it to an SSD. And I use a Samsung in this case. I have this blue Samsung hard drive. I don't remember what model this is. This is the T7, the Samsung portable SSD. This is 1 terabyte. This is what I have on my front. Now, it's 1 terabyte. It's not a lot of space on there, but that's enough space for what I do in terms of like getting production work and stuff like. So when I'm working with artists and whatever projects I'm working, I have that portable drive SSD to work off of. At some point, I'll say like when the project is old enough, or I'm not working on it, I'm complete. The client paid me, I'm good. I'll dump that off to another drive, like a storage drive. And that drive, you don't have to worry about the speed on it. But if you're working with libraries, for libraries, you need a hard drive. It has to be no slower than 7,200 RPMs. Don't buy anything less than that. There's going to be some that's 5,200. Do not get those. Get the ones at 7,200 RPM. Now, you're grown. You can do what you want, but this is my recommendation. That's what I suggest. The reason why I say that is because when you're using plugins, instrument plugins, and you in these DAWs or whatever, you're streaming audio from these places. So a lot of times you're going to be downloading the extra content that comes with these programs, like Native Instruments, for instance. When you download content or complete blah 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 whatever, right? The actual plugin, when you install it on your computer, that has to be on your computer though, your internal drive. So whatever your internal drive and wherever that is, that has to be on your computer in order to use it on your computer. But the content that comes with these library, the library content, there is a place where you can set that inside of Native Access. When you go inside of Native Access, you can say, hey, I want you to save the content on these drives. You can so do that. When you download the content will go on those external drives. In this case, it might be something like this. It has to be 7,200 RPM if it's not an SSD. If it's an SSD, it's different models, but when we talk SSD, is not enough data in terms of like spending a lot of time with breaking down which SSD you go. It's like they're like, it's still beyond 7,200 RPM, because this one it's a disk inside of it. So if I'm telling y'all to go with a 7,200 RPM on here, in terms of SSD, I think any model will work. It don't matter. The cheaper model is obviously slower than the one that's more expensive, but like that's not enough to have a conversation about. You know what I mean? Like at that point it's like whatever. Who cares? It's SSD. It's a solid state drive. There's no drives in there. Now, in terms of reality, to you know, uh, in terms of stability, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You know, all of these devices are prone to fail. It just is. It's just one of those. It's the nature of this. You can buy a bad model, and it's just gonna happen. You know, just hope it's not you. You know, some of them can blow up, some of them can fry. Just hope it's not you, but it's possible. But there are things you can do to prevent that, because I think a lot of times people be overworking their systems, their setups, and expect things to work and wonder why things. If you keep your computer on all night, you never shut it down. Like, what the hell you think gonna happen? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like how the hell you expect your system to work like it's supposed to if you never shut your computer down? Just imagine you being up all day, all night for an entire week. You need rest, or you're not gonna function correctly. So computers need rest. Those fans that be spinning when your system get too hot, them fans kick on that thermostat, bruh. How many times does it spins when it's not in use? You in the bed, sleep, bruh. There's no reason why your computer should be on unless you downloading something. But at that point, it's important. If you ain't doing nothing, cut that thing off. That's why people get in trouble. That's why people don't last. Things don't last. That's why my Mac that I bought 20 years ago still works, because I cut it off every night. I cut it off. I don't leave this stuff on all night. I take care of my devices, and plus, like, that stuff running, you know, electricity, man. It don't pull that much electricity, but I'm saying, if I ain't using it, I'm gonna shut it off. Point blank. Serious. You know, period. I mean, I don't know how simple. I don't know how simplistic I could be. Yeah, electronic devices need to shut down. Same as a phone. Now, you know, I don't shut my phone down every night because these things was optimized to run all the time. But it is the reason why things hang up, because they do. Sometimes they hang up. Camera not working right. You're not able to get to this app right. Things not working, so you got to shut it down. You got to reboot it. This is the iPhone 11. I had it for some years. The battery on here is beautiful. It's not that bad. It's cool. I haven't noticed a difference in the battery depletion. But guess what? I do restart this thing like maybe once a week. Yeah, or I let it deplete all the way to the battery kills it or whatever and turn it back on. It's not on the charge all the time. It's another factor. It's yeah. My kids keep their phone on the charge all the time. I bought their phone at the same time as mine's, and the battery on them things are. It's not that great because they do what teenagers do. Anyway, that's what that is. Buy a hard drive, 7,200 RPMs or higher. Any SSD will work. You got some of the popular brands. It's more popular than others. I say go for the one that have more reviews. But there's another one called G Drive. I will highly just suggest against buying G Drives unless you're buying the E-Raw or the E-Raw. If you're buying a G Drive, E-Raw, or E-Rev, E something, that's the only model that I would vouch for. G Drive, any other versions sucks to me. I have several of them, and they all suck. But there's one that I keep in my bag. I use that for my library. It's only 1 terabyte. So, my portable setup is a little bit limited. I don't put as much stuff on it as obviously as if you go with this type of drive, the WD Black drive for libraries, the one I have connected to my computer right now is a 6T. It's a 6 terabyte drive. That is the one that's connected currently for my library. Right? That's my library. And I want to be very distinctive when I say library versus work. I don't save projects on this hard drive. It's only for the library because I wanted to dedicate it to the library. That's it. When you do too much on the drive, you run the risk of killing it. That's what happened to my other lacy drive. I only had 2 lacy drives over some years that failed on me. The latest one I used to use on the stream, I had it set up. It's like in the corner somewhere. I don't know if y'all realize it was there, but like that one has died on me. And that one was a 4T. But the thing with that one was I had my hard drive, all of my library on that drive. And I was also saving the projects on that drive. And I was also doing movie editing on that drive. So that drive was being utilized for several things. And it just kind of killed it faster than it should have. You know what I mean? So then I came up with this, you know what? I'm just going to designate a hard drive to do one thing. So that's for sound. There's this other hard drive setup that I'm looking to purchase, which will back up that and my portable drive. I'm just trying to figure out which one I'm gonna get. But that situation is the backup only. Then there's another drive that I have that I just dump stuff on, like a drive, and I don't even keep it connected to the computer. It's a couple of drives. I have 2 lacy Porsche drives in the background that I used to use as main setups, but they're too big to travel. Both of them are 2T separately, whatever. One was for my laptop, one was for the Mac. But I use those drives from time to time. I'll turn them on when I need to slide stuff over, and then I turn them off. I don't even keep them. So it's just like, it's kind of like storage, like stuff some client called me like 5 years later, hey man, can you blah, blah, you still have access? I'm like, yeah. I kind of give him a hard time, but like, bruh, that was 5 years ago. You think I still have that? I just give him a little hard time. Like, bruh, are you serious? You know what I'm saying? It might be easier for you to search in your email for that project than to ask me, because I'm gonna charge you. All right, give me a second. I'm gonna look for it and see if I find it. Now that's gonna be $100 to send you a project I already mixed for you. This is $100 just to look. And a lot of times I still got that project because I seen it the other day when I turned it on. That's $100. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 803 said, I always use the SSD for project. Yep. And that way, SSDs are not cheap. They're expensive. I would not buy an SSD for library content. I just would not do that unless you just got it like that. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's just that, my budget ain't there right now to have a SSD of that capacity as my 6T to be able to run like that. The projects will be faster, of course, absolutely. When I get budget, I will obviously upgrade my drives to be, everything will be SSD. But, you don't have to. But just make sure it's 7,200 RPMs. You should be fine with that. You know what I'm saying? You should be fine. You should be fine. That's all I'm saying. But with your projects that you're working on at that time, you know what I mean? Should be on a SSD. Because it just makes things faster, smoother. Frustration part. I mean, and then you could use that drive for whatever you want. You know what I'm saying? That drive should be the drive that you do multiple things. Like I do movie editing on that. Yeah, like current projects, movie editing, and things I need to do real quick. You know what I'm saying? I use that drive to do that type of stuff. Music, you know what I'm saying? I use that drive, the SSD, because you run the lesser risk, you know, of things crashing or taking a very long time. Things are definitely quicker with that. But when you're done, you know, to make more space, because over time those things will build up. Or you could just buy another SSD. It's totally up to you. If that's what you prefer to do, then just totally do it that way. You know what I mean? Like, you could totally do that. It's your money. You do what you need to do. It's your workflow. But me, what I do, you know, I save money and I try to think smart. In this situation, you know what I mean? Like, I just have a regular drive for like storage backup for stuff, archive. I throw whatever I'm not doing on that, take it off my main hard drive, and those things just sit on those hard drives. And then to even back those up, like I said, I'm getting ready to purchase a bigger unit that will just sit in the corner somewhere against the wall, and its only job is to back up my computer, all of the drives I have connected, and that's all it is doing. And those drives, there's a backup drive to back up that, and then there's a backup to back up the backup. And then there's a fourth drive or third drive to back up the backup that's backing up the backup. That's the solution that I'm looking for. And I found a couple of them. I just need to narrow down what I want. Then you also got cloud. You can back up your stuff using cloud as well. You say, boy, you backing up the hell up of everything. Yeah, man. As a producer, man, when you've done it as long as I've done it, you learn some things, you've experienced some things, and then you get to this point where I am is like, yeah, it's time to do it this way, because I can't continue working from that. I was once like a lot of people. I'm like, man, I'm not. There's a lot of money spending on hard drives to do these backups, and I'm at that point where I'm like, I see the value behind backups. So right now I'm okay. I've learned my lesson. I can't tell you how many drives I have. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. 2 of them's connected right now. 3 of them behind me. There's 2 in my bag. That's about 4 in archive. Just somewhere around here. But there's stuff on there. It's like you can never have too many drives. You can never have too many drives. And then all of it, like the whole point behind all of it is to keep your internal drive free from doing too much work. Because for that same reason, your operating system is operating your entire system. It's also running the software that you're running on your computer, and it's recalling everything that you pull up, interfaces, plugins, apps. When you streaming live or browsing the internet, your memory is being taxed. You're saving stuff off the internet to your hard drive. Your hard drive is always a part of that process. It's like it's the first thing that pops up. You know what I'm saying? You just got to think about all those things. And then for people to say like, yeah, I got a 2 terabyte on my computer. I can do everything from my computer. I don't need no external drive. Yeah, okay. But why would you do that? Just because you have that space and you can do that, but why would you do that? It doesn't, like, if you're thinking about like preserving your computer and making it last long as it possibly can, why would you do that? Yeah, I would just rather not do that. If my computer was two T, my excitement level would not be like, oh snap, I got so much room. I'm me, man. I'm like, let me try to keep everything 1/3 of that. 1/3, bro. I don't want to fill that to capacity. I want my computer to remain fast. Because when you start filling that stuff up, your computer slow down. So that's the thing people don't. Like, yeah, yeah, I can run everything on my computer. Yeah, of course. When you got everything on your computer, and you're gonna be complaining, "Man, why my computers are slow?" It's because you got everything on there. You need a hard drive now. So you stupid now. You know what I'm saying? Like you, you're only stupid when you deny or call other people or make it seem like people like me and my methods is wrong. You know what I'm saying? I've come in contact with them type of people. They just think it's ridiculous for us to have extra hard drives to do that, and so their solution is to buy a Mac that has more space. Yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Hey man, it's your money. You do what you want to do. But anyway, if you needed like an image reference to what I just said, it's gonna look something like this. You're looking for the black drives, and there is other versions like um, it's an entire family. Why are they only showing me those? Let me see. WD Black. Let me type that in. Let me see. There we go. Now there's a variety of them. So this one right here, this is the one that I bought. Six that's 6 gigs. 6T. This is the one I have. But this is an internal hard drive. This was at 7200 RPM, right? It's a SATA drive. And because it's a SATA drive looks like that. See, there's a disk in here. But this is at 1700 RPM. SSDs don't have these disks in here. So you got all these mechanisms that are in these type of drives. I call these disk drives or spin disk. That's kind of my term. That's what I call them. But yeah, these are this is the internal drive. That's what I have. So it's at $200. I don't remember if I paid yeah, I think I did. I paid $200 for it. This was purchased on 2021. Yeah. It was about a year ago, maybe, give or take. And it's been doing pretty good so far. All I did was bought a casing for it, and because the ports on this one did not come, this is a SATA port. Like, it's not your typical USB port right there. So I had to change the port to USB so it can talk to my system. So that's kind of what I did. But I'm gonna tell y'all, when you buy it like this and just get a casing for it, it comes out cheaper. It comes out cheaper. I'm trying to tell y'all. This thing cost me way less than it would be for something like this. Now, I may go back and get this one. This one right here is designed to do the same thing as what I'm using the internal for. So, but I still may go ahead and get it for real. Let me see, where is it? It's not in. Yeah, I'm just giving y'all game right now. So this is kind of like me just trying out Western Digital, but I would not buy the regular ones. I will buy the one that's made for gaming, not the regular ones. I don't like Western Digital drives. I don't know why I don't, but it's not. Most of their drives just says high speed. You know what I'm saying? When you look up Western Digital, and I'm gonna prove my point. When you just say Western, what am I doing? I should say WD drive. Like a lot of people go and buy drives, and you're trying to save money, so you're gonna, people like, okay, this is a good one right here. Look at this, 20 TB boy. Like people, man, 20 terabytes. Oh, this is hefty in price. Oh yeah, that's pretty up there. But okay, let's go for something cheaper than that. Let's say 4 terabyte. Um, okay, let me come back out because those are may not be the drives people will buy. Here's a common one. People see these a lot. You see this drive like people people will buy this in a minute. See that? This is the drives that people will buy. This is WD. It says 5 TB, right? Oh man, it's at $100. Like you think that's a steal, right? Yeah, that's a steal. Great, and I mean it is. It's definitely a steal. I mean I would buy it, but for what I'm trying to do, I wouldn't. But let's read the details here. Um, so I needed to tell me the speed. Slim design, blah 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 blah. Look at this. It says super speed USB 3.0, and it says 5 gig per second. You see that? That's how all of them are labeled. It will tell you that they're just super fast, and then they also show you a little graph, like how fast they are according to other ones. But guess what? When you find out the speed in these things, they're not the same as a 7200 RPM. If you look for 7200 RPM, that's going to be way more expensive than these. But I mean, the price has gotten better. But yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about. You want to know the speed? Nobody going to tell you the speed. They're going to say that, but it's super fast. And for most people cases, it's super fast for what you're doing, data speed, transferring files, blah 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 blah. But when you talk music production, when you talk about streaming from a hard drive to pull up that contact library, we talking different. This is different. This is not the same. Yeah, you can get your movies, your music. Or who's downloading movies these days, right? I don't know. Maybe some of y'all are still doing that. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? Big files, transferring files. But yeah, I mean, okay. To save, do quick stuff on, yeah, this is great. Cool. $100. Get one of those. Sweet. Sweet deal. If I was to buy that, it would be to do simply what I said earlier. Like when I'm done, I'll just dump stuff on it in the background. This wouldn't be used as my main drive at all. At all. I wouldn't use it as main production. Hell no. Hell to the no. I just wouldn't do it. Nope, no sir. It's not gonna happen because this drive is essentially too slow for what we do. For what we do, it's not gonna work. And there's a reason why they don't tell you the speed because the speed ain't 7200. The ones that are 7200 RPMs, I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be a lot more expensive. 72 RPM. 4 terabyte Toshiba. Oh man, they got cheap, but this is an internal though. That's an internal. But wait till we get to the hard drive that is made as an X. Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Wait till we get to the one that's made to to be bought and plugged straight to your computer. That's the one we talking about. Um, okay, all of these are. We looking for the external hard drive. Show me the external hard drive. Come on, show it to me. Show it to me. Here's one right here. Or is it? Yeah, that's 7.2. Evolution 8. Nah, I don't even know what that is. I never heard of that. But it's got some decent ratings on it. I don't know. That's $69. That might be a good deal. I don't know. Here's the one from WD, the black version. This one is 12 TB, 259. I'm not even talking about that much space though. I'm talking about, oh snap. Here's a OWC. Now OWC is a respectable company, but this is not. I don't think that's a hard drive. It's something else. This is a storage solution. This is just the casing. This is just the box. Here's a phantom drive. Here comes here comes G drive. But this is a SanDisk. That's the drives that's in it. You gotta pay attention to the disk that's in there. That's the other thing. Even though it say G drive, it's like all of them come cased with other drives inside of it. Here's a Toshiba at 109. This one at 109, but it doesn't say nothing about 7200 RPM. See how they try to get you. Okay. These are not the options I was looking for. Okay, here's a Lacey drive. I think this is the newer version to what I had. 18. Man, okay. What is going on? Who put in 12 TB? I'm looking for something like smaller in size. Oh my gosh. Glyph is another one. Glyph is a well-known. Glyph is probably like your best bet. Like it's sturdy. So Glyph right now for 6T rugged 7200 RPM at 269. You know what? I might need to get this one. The prices has definitely decreased over time. And this is not a SSD though. This is a spin drive. But it come with power and it's got that power switch. This is what I like. I need to be able to cut my drives off. You know what I'm saying? And it comes with power. That's what I like about those drives. The ones that are USB operated, you're gonna have issues with those over time. But yeah, this thing can get pretty expensive. This is probably the older version, which is why it's so cheap. I don't even know if that's second gen, 3.1 Gen 2. And there's no telling how old this thing is. This look old. It's probably way more. Yeah, you can tell. Look at it. These are updated. These are the drives that are more stable for production. You'll see these, but they're more expensive though, or not. Whoa, these prices are pretty good. I have to rethink this. Here's a 6T. All right, I need to rethink. The prices are pretty reasonable. No, I'm lying. This is expensive. You know what I'm saying? Because I bought mine at 200. This one's 329. At this point, you just buying name. You buying the name. Yeah, I mean that is pretty expensive. But you know, here's a 5T at 219. And but see, this is the reason why I will buy these over a regular drive or not a SSD for this type of work. Like, because when you start talking SSD for that type of space, yeah, things are a little bit different. I'm wondering if they even have SSD versions. Okay, here's your SSD. All right, check this out. SSD, 1 terabyte, 179. You see my point? Here's 4 terabyte, 829. You get where I'm going with this now? So to get 4T SSD, you're gonna spend $800 to get this one by Glyph. You don't have to get that one. You can get something else. It don't have to be. Let me see. If I was to go with a 6T SSD to replace what I have now, this one is an 8T. That's at 500 almost. That's about Samsung. Um, I don't fool with HP. Like seriously, nope. Get out of here. We in PC territory. Oh look at how WD throwing them price. Look at them. Look at them. WD 6 terabyte for 150. Oh, that's such a steal, yo. But that's not an SSD though. This is a regular drive. This is a regular drive, and it's probably not 7200 RPM. I can almost promise y'all that. It's just gonna say super fast. Yeah, but it's super fast though. Yeah, this was not 7200 RPM. I will buy that drive for just storage, man. That's something I'll just, yeah. I mean, they kind of marketed towards that, like complete backup. You know, this is not something you work off of. It's just for backup. That's it. You're not editing no movies on this type of drive. You're just not. This is for backup purposes. But anyway, yeah, I think y'all get the point, you know. In terms of G Drive, this one looks like a newer version of the G drives, but I don't trust it, or maybe I should because this is redesigned, and I'm thinking maybe this is along the this is along the ERAW line. That's the only drive I will buy. The ERAW. That's the only one I will buy. But this one is a SanDisk though, so you know this might be okay. SanDisk is quality, so this one might work. It might work. The SSD drive is their SSD drive is expensive. I think it's like $200. Yep, there we go, $200 to get a two terabyte. That's not bad. Well, compared to this one, might be 150, 1 terabyte. I'll be shocked if it's only $100. If that thing is only $100, man, I might just get it. Let's see what the price is. Stop throwing the stuff. They're trying to hide the price. Come on, man. What the price at? What's the price? They don't want to tell me. They know I'm live. They don't want to tell me. Anyway, or you know, if you're gonna go with SanDisk, you might well just go with SanDisk. You know what I'm saying? Just buy SanDisk. But yeah, SanDisk is decent. They you know you can see the ratings behind it. You know, 38,000. You know, that's pretty high ratings or whatever. Um, this one is a 2T. Oh, that's a steal, bro. I might just go ahead and get this one, and it looks sleek. It's pretty cool. $100 for it. Okay, bet. I might just go ahead and get that one. That's a 2T. I've been looking to buy another solid state drive anyway. You know, just trying to build up my little you dig. the prices came down. I'm telling y'all, these prices, um, this wasn't like this before. I'm gonna add that to my list right quick. Yeah, we need to look at that later. But yeah, hopefully this helped. Let me see. Snipe Young is in the building. What's up, bro? Yeah, these are SSDs. He's showing options for backups, workflow, and budget. Those black boxes are janky. He said the black boxes are janky. Okay. Well, that's Snipe said you got 3 of them that went bad on you. Okay, that's good to know because I only had mine for almost a year, so I didn't have it long enough to even experience that. So I appreciate the heads up. So what do you suggest? But that goes with what I was saying. Period. Like I don't even like Western Digital. I said that. I said that, and I'm like, if y'all gonna go with something, just go with the one that's made for gaming. um, but Snipe says no. He said no, sir. Yeah, 803 the 3.5 adapter. Yep. That's what I did for the black drive. That is. I mean, for just for just my library. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have. I'm not working from it. You know what I'm saying? Working from it in terms of like, library purposes, streaming, when I recall instruments that I'm using, from that standpoint, yeah, but I don't save any work on it, if that makes any sense. You said the Samsung that I passed, you got it for 800. So which one was that? I passed a Samsung. I'm feeling them saying this though. You said I passed a Samsung and you got it for 800. Like which? I don't know which one that was. But the point is, if any of you guys looking to buy a hard drive, I gave you some good ideas, and then Snipe came in and he crushed that whole dream. Anyway, um, but I'm gonna tell you this: I did say that you need drives to back up drives. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why I said what I said earlier. Like I'm looking to buy a it's not a RAID system, but it's a solution to back up the backup. You know what I'm saying? So if one drive crash, you have another drive that has the backup to that. And if you backing up that backup, then you know what I'm saying? Not all of them gonna crash at the same time. You know. So the whole point is to have several drives. So the thing is, when you're doing production, man, you never go in this with one solution. You never go into with one drive and the man, you happy. You finna make this money. No, bro, that's not how it works. You gotta have several drives in place to do this music stuff, man. And never save the stuff on your internal. I don't do that. I mean, I've done it. You know what I'm saying? I've done it. I will do it sometimes, like in situations where I start something at work, away from home, something like that. If I'm doing something, I'll save it real quick if I don't have my hard drive or whatever with me, and then quickly get it off my computer onto somewhere else. But I don't mentally don't have my internal drive in the line of workflow. It's just not an option. You know, it's like a fail safe thing. Like, oh shit, man, I don't have a hard drive. I need somewhere to put this real quick. And that's the only time I would do that. But I will save stuff like documents, PDF files, pictures, here and there, stuff like that. Like, with work, nope. I don't save that stuff on internal. I just don't do that. Oh, the Samsung 870. All right, I'm gonna have to type that in. The Samsung 870. Samsung, it was 870. QVO. Let's see what pops up. Oh, dude, is that a typo, bro? You pay $800 for how many? How many terabytes, bro? How many terabytes? Is it 16T? Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be a 16T because I'm looking at one that's 8T is at 469. So you got to be. It's got to be a 16, 18 or something like that, or 20T. I'm like $800. Jeez. Cause I thought that was like like an NV or some type of like system. Woo. Dang, bro. Well, I mean, if you pay $800, that wasn't now because their AT is 469 right now. It's 460. It's half that price, but see, that's the whole point. That was just what I was saying, man. Like, it wasn't that long ago that like these, because now as I'm talking about it, I'm amazed myself. I'm like, these prices I'm seeing, like, wait, these prices was way more before the last time I was doing like a hard drive shopping. But I'm like, wait, that's a good price. Let me save that. You see what I was doing like a second ago? I'm like, wait a second, this ain't the same prices, man. That's different. Okay, 2 years ago, man, ain't that something? 2 years ago, the price was half that price. Um, it was double that price. Sorry, just 2 years ago, and that's what I'm used to. Like, that's why I bought that SSD, the one I have now. I think at that time it was a sale. I got it like $60, something like that. But if you tell me a 2 terabyte, just something simple, SSD for like $100, I'm buying it. I think that's a steal. But those prices was not available a couple of years ago for that same amount of space. A 2T was $300, bro. I kid you not, $300 for an SSD. These prices is different. So, we're in a good time. You know what I'm saying? Things are, we're in a good space. It is, going back to what this is about. This thing on the iPad now. You know what I'm saying? Logic Pro being on your iPad. We're at those days now where you're not booking a session at a studio is exclusive to record labels now, or studios that charge $150 an hour to come in and do beats or to do anything. You're only paying $5 on your iPad. But you don't have to pay $5. You can stick to doing what you was doing. Like seriously. Like it took me 3 hours to tell y'all that. it took me 3 hours to tell y'all. Okay, if you're not spending $5 to do this, then okay, don't do it. You ain't got to do it. You do what you've been doing. And that's how I feel. I'm not jumping on this. I don't even use Logic, but I just may jump on it because it's gonna help me create content on the YouTube. Like if I feel like it's dope, I may incorporate this. I may even go back to Logic. Never thought I would say that, but I don't know. I'm just thinking. I'm never saying no to anything. You just never know. If Logic is on that if they're on that wavelength length, if they're on my frequency, I'm going to move back to Logic. But Logic to me has been clunky. I've got bored with it. I've grown out of it. You know what I'm saying? But it seemed like lately what they've been doing seemed like they've been making the right moves in upgrading their platform. Because I'm looking at this now. Even in this app thing, I'm looking at how it's set up. And I'm scratching my head and I'm like, okay. To me, it's all about workflow. I can care less about the flashiest things, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not spending my money on anything that comes out today or comes out next week. I'm not gonna be the first one. Only time y'all see me talk about something is if they send it to me. Most of the times, that's kind of what it is. It's kind of some things I'll spend my money on it because I believe in it, but it's all about workflow. If it works for me, I'm cool. But if it's not working, I'm looking and I'm discovering and I'm trying to figure things out. Which is why most of my videos been in Studio One, but I've been in Bitwig lately because I'm frustrated with, I don't know, man. I'm a little frustrated because, and it's a mixture of a couple of things. It's not necessarily because I'm looking at YouTube and seeing what other people are doing in other dolls versus what I'm doing. It's more so like, for me, it's always been a couple of things that I've lived with and made it work. That's kind of where I'm coming from. Some of those things I don't talk about. It's just what I do. Actually, some things I do, and I'm like, okay, this is how you overcome. This is how you do whatever. Or it could just be something I learned how to do because that was the only way to do it in Studio One versus other platforms that does it differently. But anyway, needless to say, it's a mixture of that, and it's also a mixture of other people and what they can do. Like I'm jealous sometimes. I'm like, well, what? You can do that, and we can't. Oh my gosh, I am so moving. No, I'm not easily moved like that. I'll just make videos and complain about it. That's all. I'll just make videos and like, look, personas. Can we have this change? Can we do this and that? But I get it though, because I've grown to the point where I know that each platform is different, and they have to remain in the competitive space. Like all dolls can't do the same exact thing that all of them does. Like most of them all do the same thing, but all of them have subtle differences, which is why some people will settle for a Reason Studio or Cubase or Logic or Ableton. You know what I'm saying? For those differences, people will settle there. And a lot of my frustrations has been like simple things. Like, I wish they will just look at the MIDI. How it captures MIDI is not normal. There's some latency or something. It's just, I don't know. It's not working. I've gotten bored with the effects, note effects. The note effects has been stale. Ain't went nowhere. The browser. I say that was the browser was probably influenced by me playing around in Logic. No, not Logic. Hell no. Especially not Logic. Logic is the last place. I feel like Studio One and Logic browser, they're like par with each other. They're both like dinosaur. It's like not you. I mean, it's useful in the basic way, but when you think about it, where are you spending most of your time when you're doing music? In the browser. You're in the browser most of the times, bruh. Yeah, most of your time is spent in the browser because you're looking for a new sound and you're looking for things to go with what you already have. And so you in the browser looking for stuff. I'm telling you, man. But like my inspiration has been coming from Ableton Live and Bitwig. When you spend time in those browsers, and that seemed like such a small thing, but it's huge for me because when I'm in Bitwig, the things that I'm able to find or discover and just how organized those browsers are, it just helped me get to things faster and being able to like just use those browsers like any other browsers like on your system. You can go in and find stuff, type in stuff, you find stuff, you can group stuff, you can tag stuff and put things where they go and you know where everything is. In Studio One, no, just things are clunky. Like it's simple, but it's too simple. You know what I mean? Like it needs to be complex in a way where the organization of it is simple. Check that out. They need to personas needs to they need to complicate the browser to simplify it. Oh man, I think I said something right there. Let me, man, complicate the browser to simplify because it's not, dude. It's like crap right now. Whatever. I digress. Right, that's what I'm saying, bro. The homie said, "I wish we were able to." Man, I've been saying that forever. I've been saying that forever. Wish we was able to say favorites. Like, how come we can't? How come we can't do that? We can hit. There's buttons on there where you can add it to a favorite, but it's not favorite. Like there's no system that highlights your favorites. Like it doesn't. Ableton Live does it the best. I feel like. Oh yeah, and like when you can tag stuff in there, and it's like there is a slot where everything lives all the time, and it will be your favorites. You can save it according to the color codes, and it's just right there. Bitwig does the same thing. Bitwig will allow you to create folders and organize your stuff accordingly, and so it's always there. In Studio One, when you when you click on the favorite, and I say quotation favorite, you open up that folder and it opens up like everything else. It's like, how do you distinguish which is the favorites and which is the regular? It's like the system is like it's ugly. It's ugly, bro. There's no way to try to justify it. Say being in the search and not being able to assign what you find to sample one is trash. Absolutely, I agree. We could do it for plugins, not for samples. Yeah, Ableton does it best. Yeah, man. Um, those I have videos on that the browser stuff. I've been like at personas about. Um, and they've been putting out videos like here's what you could do with the browser. This is how you can blah blah blah. And I'm like, wow, they still doing videos in 2023 as to like how you can do stuff in there in that dinosaur browser, bruh. Like that's not a browser. They got this tag system in there that has no relevance at all. In their tag system in there, especially in the plugin, I think it's in the effects section where it breaks things down like genre or the temperature of or the mood, should I say? That's a better word. The mood, like happy or I think I don't remember, but like basically it's like don't them plugins don't respond to that. And what point is that to even have tags in that section? Or even in the loop section? Because most of them don't have those type of tags associated with it. Kick, snare. That stuff's not gonna pop. I use it, bro. I know man, it's crazy. It's like to even have that in there as a part of the system browsing is just pointless. I don't know. I don't know. It that could just be me talking. But it's a lot about. All right, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. But basically, um, yeah, we talking about Logic, man. We talking about Logic. The one thing I don't like about Logic, in their browser, you say, why do you say Logic browser? Like, okay, well, in Logic, there's no way to drag and drop in Logic, at least not right now. Inside of Logic, you gotta like go inside the menu and physically, like things are broken up in categories. When you looking for an instrument in Logic, you open up that section where the plugins live, and only on that channel, I think it's the only place you can look up what you need to look up. You're not going to a global browser to look up anything. You're going to the channel, then you look up, or if you go for a new track, you look for the instrument from there. Then you got to know the manufacturer who made, like who's behind the whole design. Then once you find that manufacturer, then you go and you look up and you try to figure out which instrument it is. And then when you pick the instrument it is, then you got to say, is it stereo? Is it mono? Do you want it to spit out 16 outs or 8 outs and eight monos and 8? You know what I'm saying? Or do you want it to be 16 stereo? It's like every area it's like a menu, sub menu, sub menu, sub menu. Okay, now we ready to load up your thing. That's how Logic works, and that's one of the reasons why I got out of Logic, because Logic was just it was complicated, and I've been using it for years. But it's just like this sucks, man. When I found a solution like Studio One, now their browser at that time was cool because the browser was just off to the side. I didn't have to be in a specific channel. It was like it's off to the side, it's separate, it's always there, and you type in for what you look for, and you drag it over, and boom, the track was built. They weren't asking you all those questions. You didn't even have to know the manufacturer. You don't need to know how many tracks that you want to route. You don't need to know none of that. You just drag it over, and that's why I fell in love with Studio One. Logic Pro was like, you got to know these things offhand, which is why I still don't like them. When I talk about stuff like that, it's like, let me just get off this thing. This page is making me mad. Like the colors look beautiful. I'm always intrigued by like how things look because I'm an artist. I'm an artistic person. I love colors. I love design. That's a part of me being a beat maker for me. A lot of y'all may not care about that, but I'm all about how things look. It's got to be a pleasing. especially the DAW has to be appeasing too, because that's what I'm spending my time in every day, all the time. At some point, looking at white and black lines and circles, and you know what I'm saying, you get bored as a producer. You need color, you need perspective. Maybe not. I mean, it's all about the sound at that point, right? Like, who cares? People ain't gonna listen to your song like, yeah, man, he made his snare blue. That's why it sounds like that. Nah, they ain't gonna. But at least for the person creating the shit, man, at least for me that's creating it, it has to be. I had to. I had to have inspiration from somewhere. Anyway, I think we just blabbering on at this point. We made our point over and over and over. I just want to say thank you guys for coming and hanging. You know what I'm saying? I was just thinking about that last night. I was wishing I could have favorite sounds in there, actually, in all of the DAW that I use. Yeah, something that's so small, like it seems small, is huge. To be able to simply favorite a sound is huge, so huge. That's workflow. That's the stuff that these companies should be thinking of. But I would say that that's a function that is found in most instruments or in most effect plug-in. There's usually a way to save favorites. Maybe not favorites, but at least a way to save it. And when you do that, it gets saved in a user folder or something like that. I'm fine with either way, you know. But like Altaria, all the instruments, they, especially the um I forget which one it is. Pigments and the other one, but basically they have a favorite function. Inside of it, it's always just saving. You can save the favorites on the machine. There's a favorite function, in there. That's how I'm able to get to things quicker. You go through sounds like, I like that sound. Me favorite. Come back to it later. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's all I got for you guys. I'm gonna hop off here. I've been on here for way too long talking about something now. But I think we had a good conversation. And stay tuned tomorrow. I may be back here tomorrow. If y'all are watching, I appreciate your subscription. Subscribe to the channel. It's free. You know what I'm saying? It don't cost you anything. It's not a monthly. I mean, you can pay a monthly. See, there's an option here. I give you options. You can pay $5 a month to the YouTube channel, and that's just support. If you supporting the channel, $5 a month, I appreciate it. I really do. You know what I'm saying? $5 a month to get y'all free game that I'm gonna start limiting to charge people for it. Like, seriously. I got some things brewing anyway. Some, just different angles. Yeah. Some of y'all are starting to see some of the changes, but yeah, I'm switching things up right now. So real quick before I end, this beat culture thing is it's kind of a direction that we're heading. It's beat culture, and I'm building around it, designing around it, just taking a different approach. You guys will hear more about that in later weeks, later days. You know, I will share that with you guys. Appreciate the information. Yeah, it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure sharing. And once again, I appreciate all of those that hung out, and you know what I'm saying. These videos are long because that's what we do now, interacting. That's what it's about. But I will. I'm almost positive, 80% sure that I will be back on here tomorrow. So y'all prepare for that. I don't know what time, but yeah, around the same time. Um, maybe an hour earlier. 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, even 10. I don't know. We might be making a beat tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Might be a machine. Might be able to live. I don't know. I can't even tell y'all that right now. I don't know. I don't know. Unless something else hits the market, like Personas come out with 6.5, or I don't know. Studio One comes out and hit the nation with the, like, give everybody what they want, what they've been asking for. Man, that's gonna hit. That's gonna hit well with me. Man, I'm calling in sick. But like, I ain't coming in today because there's an update today. Anyway, all right, man. Till next time, I appreciate y'all. Hey, got any questions? Come back tomorrow.